Hello. Welcome to our little Wednesday episode of the Nexus. Joe and I do it every Wednesday and Saturdays. I'm assuming he's going to show up at some point. So while we wait for him, I guess I'll do a little bit of monologuing. The topic today we're going to talk about is gratitude, just kind of reflecting on things we're grateful for. Since tomorrow is Thanksgiving, I'm going to do an all-day stream. So at some point when I wake up and get going, I'll start the stream, and I'll keep it going as long as there's a need or desire for it. You can bring your food, your beverages, whatever else you partake of on Thanksgiving, and we can all hang out together and enjoy our meal. Leggy, hello. What's up? After Joe shows up and we do our little gratitude topic for a few minutes, I'll drop the link and we'll get a panel going. Oh, also, there's an update on my job search thing tomorrow. Yesterday. I went to the job search place and they had all these services on their website. They said that you can walk in and talk to people about. So I tried that yesterday, and I was told that no, they don't do any of that. All they do is teach you how to use a computer, and then you're on your own. You can job search on their computers. Well, I ended up calling them yesterday afternoon because it bothered me too much. Like, why is their website saying one thing, and I'm getting a totally different experience in person? And I talked to this very, very nice, helpful lady. She spent about 45 minutes with me on the phone, really listening to the problem, listening to what I was looking for. She was able to help answer my questions, clear up all the confusion from yesterday, and I actually ended up signing up for these online workshops that they have starting next week on communication. I'm coming, Joe. I was getting to it.
All
I
right.
was telling about my work source experience. So, yeah. So listen to what I'm getting myself into.
hmm
Uh, Hang on. It says learn about interpersonal and business communication, and discover your own style. Develop better listening, writing, computer, and presentation skills. That might even help me with the stream. Find out about verbal and nonverbal cues. Practice conflict resolution and get tips on emotional control. Y'all probably going to love that. And get tips on how to present yourself the right way, whatever that is, on the phone, in email, and on social media. So I'm going to start that next week, and I'm going to report back um, and let you know. So anyway, they do indeed do more things at that work source place than the lady I talked to yesterday said. So I want to give everybody an update on that and clear that up. And I'll let you know how the course goes next week. What's up, Joe?
Uh, you know, usual thing with me, doing my stock writing, poking my nose into not just these streams, but peeking into other parts of the panelverse here and there. And then I
What are
had
you
my own stream
finding?
yesterday. Well, Kane had a stream earlier today, and it was a lot of, um,
A drama stream?
yeah, it was a drama stream. I was
Oh.
trying to watch some videos, but uh, it quickly devolved into drama. So, and then, um, and I found that the chat can influence the direction of a stream to a point. So uh, I'll talk about my own stream yesterday. Um, so I did my initial, we'll say, topic and presentation, which went on for about 30 or 45 minutes, and then I started taking on questions from chat, uh, seeing where they wanted to go with it. And it didn't really stick to the topic too much because as soon as Elon Musk came up, a lot of it just became stuff about that was Elon hating, which you saw some of that. Um, and so, I kept having to bring it back around to whatever you may think of Elon as a person. Uh, it's not helpful to learn about investing. Uh, But that's just I think it's on. That's why it's on um, the streamer to anticipate what exactly is likely to happen, what the topics they cover and how they want to respond to things and how they maintain control of their topics. So just it's different when I'm a guest on somebody else's panel versus I'm trying to run my own stream with my own goal and focus in mind. So that's something I'm gradually learning. I think some people like Kane is more open ended in terms of what he's pursuing on his channel. So that might be why if drama becomes a main topic, he's not too bothered by it, even if that's not why he wakes up in the morning and says, "All right, I'm going to stream and talk about drama." But if it arrives, I don't think he's too bothered by it either. Whereas in my case, I want zero drama. If I find that coming to my channel, I'm just immediately going to block or ban anyone that brings it in. I wouldn't even do a drama court thing myself. I think it makes less sense in the context of a stocks thing versus like a pure counseling framing like this channel. I could see some value in a drama court there if it's properly mediated. But there's just no place for that on a stocks and investing channel. So those are just the things I've been going through lately. I've actually had a pretty successful month. In terms of getting enough articles out. It wasn't easy in the first half, but I just managed to be productive, make some of the articles work that ended up earning a bit more for me than I would have expected. So that's all pretty good. I'm pretty happy with how that's going. And I think I can get one more out too. So I'll end up making pretty good money, even though
You have one coming up next week, huh?
yeah, I'm going to do one
On
next week.
RFK.
I'm going to do that about sort of attention to how RFK Jr. heading Health and Human Services could impact food stocks, particularly as it concerns his attack on artificial ingredients like artificial flavors or dyes, to give food certain colors, things that aren't necessarily things that aren't necessary in most cases, and where the long-term health effects are something that RFK Jr. doesn't trust. I don't know the facts of that, and it's not going to talk about it from a policy perspective, but it's going to look at how these companies can be affected by that. So that'll be the idea there. And I guess maybe we should just, okay, if folks want to look at that, we can just go through the usual step of linking my channel so people can check it out next Tuesday. So I'll go ahead and post it in the back if you want to share it.
Yeah, I dropped Joe's channel in the
Oh, okay, you already did that. Cool.
yeah, I got it, and it's in the description too. So how like yesterday, because you have more topic focused streams,
Mm-hmm.
and so how did you? After we open up the panel, we will. It's usually I do a topic, and Joe and I definitely do a topic on Wednesdays and Saturdays. So it's not open panel right away. People have been showing up expecting the link earlier than I normally drop it.
Mm-hmm.
What was your experience with the chat doing its own thing? Because I
Um,
personally like that. I prefer that. I like the chat driving the topic, but you're trying to run a different kind of stream than me. So
right.
what's your thoughts on that and going forward in the future?
Well, I want to encourage chat to, ask the questions that I don't. I want chat to get something from it. Like I'm making content. This is for them to consume. So I don't want to say they don't have any influence or input here, right? I don't want to say that they can't, steer it a little. But there's definitely getting way off the point, or whether it's the point of the topic or even the point of my channel. So, uh, let's analyze what kicked it off. I was talking about. I sort of made a point on risk management, and I brought up the point that Elon Musk makes about interplanetary travel and what he believes is the importance of getting human beings, onto other planets as a way to manage the risk of human extinction, because our technology is powerful enough to wipe out humanity and has been for a long time. And given enough time, it's there's a good chance that if we only stay on Earth, there will be no humanity left before any of the other natural events like the expansion of the sun, can doom us. And so, getting to other planets is important. And we also know, again, eventually, even if we don't destroy ourselves, the Earth will become uninhabitable because the sun only has so much fuel. So humans have to, find ways to expand into the universe, where there's more resources and energy to keep us going. Um, so it's a risk management thing, right? And the response to that by Chet and WASF was, part of that. So he just mentioned they're talking about me. Wow, was to mention a YouTuber who debunked Elon Musk's colonization of Mars, which is completely missing the point, and it's just reflexive Elon hating. Right now, it's not too surprising considering the folks. It was like two folks in particular who talked about it. WASF was one. Like I understand. I'm familiar enough with him to know that why he feels that way. But uh, the point I was making in that stream was sort of talking about the potential effects of the Fed. Um, let's say we imagine it gets abolished. How that might affect investments going forward, whether we're talking about the dollar or gold or crypto. And that was the idea there, right? And how these things interplay with each other. I did hint to you before why the Federal Reserve exists, why
Are they
it.
thinking about abolishing it?
So it's a thing I have noticed that happened after the election. I've seen it on X. I've seen Elon talk about it, share and retweet things about it. About
Oh, this is the
even
first time hearing of it. Let me
even though
try
even
to
though
take
it
a
was
look.
not an election issue, it was not discussed in the election. Now that Trump has won, it is something that I've seen get some attention, which is um, it really spawned after when I mentioned before, Jerome Powell was asked if he would resign if Trump asked him to, and he said, "No, that's not how the law works. I have a 4-year term, and I
He
intend to
didn't.
serve it."
I don't think he said that's not how the law works.
He
I
said
think
he
he
said not
said he's not going to resign.
he said not permitted under the law.
He said what?
He said not permitted under the law. Trump cannot fire him, and I will quote
Oh, I
Jerome
want to look
Powell.
up that quote because
He
that's
said
not the one I saw.
not permitted under the law, and I even showed a
But
clip.
because we looked it up and it's up to Congress, it's not up to Jerome Powell. So Congress can definitely permit it under the law.
So because Congress is the lawmaking authority, yes. Essentially, if the Congress says something, it is the law. He was talking about in the context of Trump unilaterally, on his own, without Congress being involved. And in fact, I also showed a clip from 60 Minutes from 5 years ago, in which Trump was still president in his first term, and Powell was asked the same thing. And Powell said the same thing. No, the law says I have a 4-year term, right? He's basically implying that Congress would need to intervene to remove his position because they're the ones that established the position. All right, and they established the Federal Reserve and therefore his position in it as an independent entity that's not part of either of the three branches of government.
I just can't find the actual quote. Everything I'm
Yeah,
seeing are saying he said no and he's going to finish out his term. Okay, here's one from the Hill.
yeah,
Powell later said it is not permitted under the law for the president to
yeah,
fire, demote him, or any of the other Fed governors with leadership positions. So he's probably correct on that because
yeah.
it's
So,
Congress, it's not the president.
and he's basically saying, Congress has given him this task, and he's simply performing the task that was given him. He's not necessarily saying that Congress can't or shouldn't intervene, but he's basically saying this is the system that Congress decided. Congress is
Yeah.
elected by the people. I'm not going to worry about the haters. Is basically what he's saying. And so Elon has, from what I've noticed recently, in the this basically just all within November, been magnifying skepticism of the Federal Reserve, and even the not just skepticism, but even the
Well,
people who
I
call
just saw
for
something
it
where it
being
said
removed.
Elon called for the abolishment of, like, Elon
Yeah.
supports abolishing it.
So, um, the reason I brought it up is because we can consider that as as a possibility for investors. And I talked about it in the context of if it doesn't get abolished, here's what can happen. If it does, here's what can happen with investments. And purely just to whatever fork in the road humanity or America will say ends up taking, because there are other central banks in other countries, so it wouldn't end the central reserve bank system entirely, but it's what investors can figure out what to do. That was the point of it, and it wasn't even necessarily saying what should or should not be the case. Should we abolish the Federal Reserve? Should we not? Should we limit it? Should we not? Should we make the chairman of the Federal Reserve fireable by the president or not? I have no input on that. So it was, so it's the purpose of my streams is whatever you may think morally or politically, which are often the same thing. I guess politically is just if you think the state should be involved or not. Um, here's the essentially the properties of investments, right? If we think of in certain types of, let's just say asset classes, right? Broad categories of investments as almost like elements in nature with properties, right? If you change something in the environment, this is how this element with these properties will respond, right? That's purely the point of it. It's trying to keep almost like a scientific aspect. But when, I use the example, I forgot what made me bring it up. I'd have to go back and watch it. I mentioned, the risk management side of Elon's proposal for interplanetary colonization. It got an Elon hating reflex from chat that became something for maybe the next 20 minutes or so. I was constantly having to say to folks like, look, we got to focus on what makes sense for investing. It got a lot of these sort of debate lord type of responses where it's like, oh, Elon's only rich because his father had emerald mines worked by slaves, and I'm just like, it doesn't change the business model of what PayPal or Tesla or whatever is. Like, these things still are what they are. Elon could have taken the money he got from his father's business practices and invested it extremely poorly and blown it away, and could have never heard of him. Right. Same thing with Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel was another one that kind of got onto the hate bandwagon because I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's a
Yeah, the
libertarian.
PayPal guy.
Yeah. Well,
I
Elon
think he's gay too.
he is gay, and he famously brought Gawker down because Gawker did a piece that outed him as a gay man about 15 years ago, and Thiel was not happy about that. And then when Gawker leaked the Hulk Hogan sex tape, Thiel funded the legal suit for Hulk Hogan, which bankrupted Gawker and wiped it out. But
Man,
that's
it kind of puts the Panelverse trolling in perspective.
yeah. So, but Peter Thiel and Elon Musk actually created PayPal together. So Thiel created the original company that was named PayPal. Elon created a company called X.com. So he's had the domain name X.com since the late 90s. He got it basically as soon as there was internet and you could start locking down domain names. He saw the value of having a single letter domain name. And of course, he locked down X, which you might say.
Did he only buy X or did he buy other letters? It
I don't
seemed
know
like he would buy the whole alphabet if he could afford it.
I don't know if he got others, but he moved on X. He got it. And what X did is basically what PayPal did. It was facilitating electronic payments over the internet, which, at the time was a novelty, right? This was talking about the late 90s, early 2000s. And PayPal and X were heavy competitors with each other, and they were driving each other crazy. And so then Peter Thiel and Elon Musk met, and they discussed a merger as basically a truce. And then the merged company kept the name PayPal, but combined the assets and customer bases of PayPal and X, and then the PayPal we have today is that company. It did eventually get bought by eBay. eBay owned PayPal for a while, and then it spun off PayPal about a decade ago. But otherwise, that's what PayPal is today. And to this day, like, neither Musk nor Thiel have an interest in it anymore. They when PayPal initially went public, which was right before eBay acquired it, they basically sold their ownership interest in it, which was worth a lot more than what they initially put into it. So they cashed out big, and then they used that to fund some of their investments that followed. So, Peter Thiel started Palantir, around the time he exited PayPal. This is also around the time that Elon starts Tesla and SpaceX and the companies he's working on now. So their wins in PayPal got them to where they are with these companies today. And so, we can talk about, for example, whether or not Tesla doing electric vehicles, trying to do some sort of form of green energy, build into that economy is good or bad, whether it makes sense, where it's economically feasible, whether there are unforeseen costs to it, whether it's politically desirable for taxpayers to give contracts to that or grants. You can do the same thing with. You can have the same conversation about Palantir with its government contracts, and you can have your opinion on Musk or Thiel, right? But what's important is when we look about why those businesses were successful, why PayPal was successful, why Palantir and Tesla have been successful. We got to look at just the fundamental investing aspects of it, right? But if you hate the politics of Musk or Thiel, and you let that get in the way of understanding like just what makes a business work, what makes an investment work, you're not going to learn anything. And then, it's not good for your own wealth building to get too distracted by your own anger toward certain individuals or celebrities.
Do you think they're watching your channel because they're concerned about their wealth building?
I don't know, but that's the point of my channel. And so I'm going to continue going to that. I want to let the chat have some ability to steer it. But if you steer off the path of let's learn about investing, let's focus on our wealth building and our risk management and all that stuff, then it's not the channel for you. So I sometimes get asked things like, what do I think about certain, like I think WASF asked me, what do I think about carbon taxes? And I don't really have an opinion on carbon taxes. Not laws asked shortly, like at the end, like would I advocate for something like a certain type of debt forgiveness? And I basically told Not laws.
Oh, the Jubilee thing.
Yeah, if the question starts, would you advocate? My answer is no. Right, so I'm not going to advocate for a policy or some sort of standard. My interest is in educating and also learning myself more about investing. Sort of leveraging. If there's stuff I already know, I want to teach it, and then I also, as I am learning things, want people to be able to be next to me, learning with me, and I want it to be a collaborative in that sense. And whatever democratic countries decide, America, Britain, the EU, Australia, Japan, whoever, I'll let the voters figure that out. I'm not going to worry about that. And
Are there other channels that do something similar where you could get more of the audience that you're looking for? Because I'm not sure the Panelverse audience is the ones that are there to do the same things you're trying to do. Maybe a few of them here and there.
I'm not necessarily looking to get most of the Panelverse audience, right? So I recognize that the kind of stuff.
Because as long as the Panelverse audience shows up, and they're your main audience right now, you're going to have that happen, rather than what you would prefer to have happen.
I was going to say, I recognize that whether we're talking the Panelverse audience or anywhere, the kind of channel I have isn't going to be immediately interesting to a large number of people.
No, it's for finance geeks, stock geeks.
Right. And if not them, then just folks who at least want to learn more about getting their finances under control, right? So, it's for those folks, and the people who have more of a patient temperament, like those are going to be my long-term viewers. And so there's going to be people who show up, and they'll find that it's not for them in the long run, and fall off, and for me, I just want to make sure I'm constantly setting the tone of like this is the type of channel that it is. So, I suspect it's possible that some Panelverse people, can.
If you make it boring enough, they usually go away. That's what happens here. It's not exciting enough for them to stay and troll.
And I would even say they weren't trolling, but it's like I don't think what I saw was trolling, right? It's just where their attention went. with it. Like, I think they were genuinely thinking, oh, this is the time for me to mention that Elon's plans to colonize Mars through SpaceX is stupid, right? Um, and that's more of a temperament thing. I don't think it was conscious trolling. I don't think it was unconscious trolling. And Mr. B asked me real quick, what do I think about articles suggesting buying paintings as an investment? I don't see paintings as an investment because, and it's basically the point I made about gold and crypto is that they don't have any compounding. There's nothing that generates value over time. They are just paintings. Now, you could still make more money on a painting than you paid, but that really depends on the price that you get and then how important the painting is. And I don't know if there are very many paintings where you could get a good price ahead of whatever cultural appreciation there ends up farming for it, that raises its price. So, you can't buy Van Gogh's painting before he became famous. The only people who really got to do that were the Van Gogh family and maybe a handful of other people. And most of the famous paintings that are going to be worth millions of dollars are going to be ones made 100 years ago or more. There aren't like famous artists making paintings today that are transforming art, because that's basically pretty much everything that you could do in painting has been done now. A lot of the more famous stuff is probably going to be, like someone who paints Obama or something like that. And it's very difficult to predict what's going to be culturally relevant. The art scene today is just where artists are more likely to make money is they are paid up front and they're doing art as a service because somebody wants that art, and then that's how they get something out of it. But I don't see buying paintings as an investment. I don't think it ever really has been. The point I made with the last stream was that businesses produce earnings and they have the ability to compound, and so whether there's a Federal Reserve or not, they still have that property. And so, long term, your investments are better off with investing in businesses and therefore stocks.
Yeah, I don't know why people seem to resist that for some reason. That makes the most sense to me.
I mean, it's empirically true. You look at the return of gold from 1900 to today. Look at the return of the Dow from 1900 to today. I played a clip by Warren Buffett talking about just that, and it's orders of magnitude different. Like, the price return on the Dow alone is significantly higher than what the price return of gold is. And
Maybe they just want something tangible that they like. Psychologically, the more tangible assets make them feel more secure.
A painting is something you can touch. People feel like it's more real than stock you have in a portfolio that you either see on your laptop screen or you have listed on a document if you still use papers that shows what your portfolio is like right now. Gold is the same thing. It's real. You can touch the gold. The only context in which gold is particularly useful is like Charlie Munger in that same clip with Buffett mentioned that Jews in Vienna in 1935 had a real advantage with storing their wealth and value in gold. It's small, easy to move around.
I think some of them do it because of the fear of civilizational collapse, too.
Yeah.
Like they're going to feel more secure if they have the gold with them.
Yeah, and at that point you're talking about somebody who has a completely different attitude on life in general.
Yeah.
So it's me trying to talk to somebody who thinks that the second coming of Christ is going to happen in a few years, or just something of that nature. So, not much I can say to something like that. But my point being with the channel is, WASF is here. Am I angry at him for the questions that he asked? No, I understand why he asked them. And kind of gets back to when I always talk about living in accord with nature. Like, what is the nature of what I'm discussing, and then people who hang out in YouTube streams, and also the nature of my channel being what it is right now, it's a very early and young channel. So, I'm going to get the chat discussions of whoever shows up, right? I'm not going to have an established core base of followers or subscribers in my chat that are going to be asking the kinds of questions that I think make more sense for the focus of my channel, right? So just to bring it full circle in terms of like, what I am learning from this, what the experience was like for me, these are the things I've learned to keep in mind, and just I need to learn how to respond to those types of questions constructively, right? So I always just brought it back to um, whatever you may think of policy. This is the investment takeaway. Even if you think Elon is dirty, right? He has successful investments. You can learn from that. You can benefit from it. If you plug your ears to the reality of it because you want to spite Elon, you will not be better as an investor. And you can do that if you want, but I'm just saying, like, uh, Elon can breathe air. His lungs work the same. He walks the same. His legs work the same, right? Like, there's just simple common sense to noting that some people can do things correctly, and if they're doing it better than you, you might learn from them.
Do you want to talk about your Discord, and then I'll drop the link. We can open the panel.
Oh yeah, I can mention that again. So I recently made my Discord server over the weekend, and again, it's meant for folks who are going to have like long-term skin in the game for what this channel is and the kind of community is. So you might almost think of it as like a club. So it's paywalled. Folks who want to join, it's $20, which they can send to me on Cash App. If you are part of the Nexus, which for now means if you're a subscriber to Jeff's channel, you get half off. It's $10, and that's just one time up front, and then you can come in and from there, we'll not only have like more focused ongoing discussions between streams, where you have more immediate access to me responding to questions, but I'll also try to organize events, mainly games that I think are instructive in the types of concepts of investing, but also habits that are important to investing. So games where I think you can talk about risk management and try to decode like what is the risk management of that game. So because I think one thing I have noticed is that there's a lot of things where skills I have in certain games or leisurely activities are helpful in investing and the analysis of investing and managing my own wealth building over time. So I don't think a lot of people connect those dots. So if there's one thing where we talk about how investing is often a boring thing, not just because it's this very plain, unexciting topic, but because also the payoff is long term. You have to be patient to make money in investing. These can be ways to make it more interesting and engaging, or you're at least getting something. Hank says, I'm not buying unless Joe can beat me in 3 rounds in 0K. I don't know what 0K is.
Yeah, I don't know what 0K is either.
Yeah, and Hank, I agree that Elon is losing money on Twitter, but I also don't think he bought Twitter for an investment. I think he did it because he felt that it was something he wanted to do, whatever the cost. He did try to get a lower price to it, and he's trying to make X cash flow positive so that it can sustain itself. But he ultimately does not hope to make significantly more money off of it. So yeah, but I agree. When I looked at the acquisition price when Twitter was still public, and I looked at the cash flow history of that company, I thought there's no way this is a reasonable acquisition price. But we did see that he reduced a lot of his operating expenses. He went in and cleaned house, so he's trying to make it more cost effective.
He broke it, is what he did. He made it worse. You talking about X?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for me it's worse. The user experience has got a lot worse, and way more bots. I have to ban and block a bunch of porn bots that I've never had to do before. The people that used to engage with me are not
Yeah.
getting my tweets or replies because I'm not a blue check. And even when I was a blue check, they weren't seeing a lot of them. So whatever he did behind the scenes with the algorithm completely changed the experience for me.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not looking at X as an example of an investment success because I don't think that was ever the point. I think that whatever investment return he wants to get out of it, it was secondary, maybe even tertiary to his other goals. So, that I don't think is something I would model. I would not tell anyone to, use his acquisition of X as a lesson in investing because I think he was throwing out the book on that entirely when he did it.
All right. Well, I dropped the link. You can come on panel now if you
Yeah.
want. Open.
Are we going to talk about gratitude?
I'm gonna save it tomorrow. I'm doing an all-day stream tomorrow, so I'll just save it for then.
It's Thanksgiving tomorrow anyway, so why not?
Yeah. I was gonna get the topic out of the way so we could just focus on the stream, but I'll work it in somehow.
Yeah.
Shut his mouth about what? Nobody has to shut their mouth. See, that's a Canadian talking, because Americans don't say stuff like that. You're raised in a culture of censorship and caroning, micromanagement, and policing of other speech. You don't know what it's like to live in a country where you can say whatever you want and nobody has to shut up.
Yeah. So WASF, I would just say, I'm happy that you have been a consistent presence in my streams, but I would say, um, you'll get the most out of my stream if your questions can be focused more on just enhancing yourself as an investor, like in your head, like the investor is
But
entirely
wait,
like the
hang on, because Mr. Self-Determination guy here, how do you know what he's there to get out of your stream? You're assuming he's going to get the most out of it if he does it your way, but maybe he's there for something else and he's getting the most out of it for what he's there for in his own way.
It's possible. So I'm making just an educated guess that I have a lot more to say if those are the types of questions. I do know a lot about what is important to him. Like he seems very interested in environmental issues.
That's because
And,
he's
yeah,
propagandized.
and
It's
well,
the
I mean,
it's the propaganda version of concern for the environment. I don't know if it's actual realistic concern for the environment, but I guess those
I,
people have their place and purpose too.
I'm not going to judge or try to analyze how valid or
I'll do that. I'll
rational
take that role.
his environmentalist feelings are. But I just know those are the feelings he has, and so he has some interest in investing as there's environmental questions for a lot of things. Now it's interesting that the most successful green energy company is Tesla, and a lot of people who are environmentalists are now mad at Elon because he's aligned with the Republicans. But I think that's a fun irony. Um, but WASF, I would say, um, lacking a direct path to just setting public policy yourself. The next best thing you can do as a citizen to support environmental policies is to build your wealth, and then whatever extra wealth you have that you want to give to green causes, you can do so. Through nonprofits or charities, or if you want to pay extra um, for-profit goods and services that are done in a green way, right? Then you have the extra money to do that. So the main idea of what I want to do with helping folks with their wealth building is that they have more autonomy over their lives, and whatever is important to them, they have more money to make it happen now. And I think there's a lot of room for people to benefit from that. When you look at how much wealth inequality there is in capitalism, if you just get in good entry prices and ride something up, you're almost certainly capturing wealth from the 1% just by making good long-term investments and using it to then fund the things you think are important and not what they think is important. So if you want to look at it that way, WASF, that is the value of my channel to you. And I'm not going to have a lot to say on here's what the carbon tax should be, or here's what the regulation should
But how
be.
do you know what the value of your channel is to other people? They determine that. That's what's weird to
That's
I
true.
think that's what I'm reacting to is how you're able to determine what your value to others is instead of them determining what your
Well,
value to
well,
them is.
I guess I'll put it this way, Jeff. If I'm like a surgeon, right, I think my value is, I can go in and remove something that is killing you. If you think, as my patient, you get something else out of me cutting into you, that's technically true. But I just be a bit perplexed about why you're letting me operate on you. Then does that make sense?
I'd say the same principle still
Yeah.
applies, but
Right. I'm not. I'm never going to say
like
no.
I know what the value of the people in my life are. Not like I
Yeah.
don't need
So
them to tell me what their value is. I'll determine what their value is.
yeah, I would say it's always going to be true, Jeff, that WASF, his value could simply be asking these questions, knowing full well that my answer is usually going to be, I don't have an opinion on that. And even if I did, I don't care, or that's not the point of the channel. Let's get back to just learning about investing. So, um, and or he might just want a place to hang out, and it's a channel to hang out that isn't the panelverse. So maybe the lack of drama is valuable to him. The lack of drama brought on by the nature of it being a boring type of topic, right? Maybe he finds it. Like, I don't know. And I'm not going to shoo him away. I'm just simply going to say, I think long term, even if he doesn't agree right now, those are the types of questions that I will be better able to work with, and I hope to see
Well,
more of
that's
it.
different from telling him what your value to him is.
So
Hey
let's
Hank, what's up?
yes. So let's be honest. For an 80% of people, they're better off just going into their 401ks and just buying whatever their mutual fund is. If you're perfectly honest, because they don't know what they're looking at.
I didn't catch
My
all that.
is my mic working?
It's a little low. I
Yeah.
turned you up all the way.
Let me turn myself up a little more.
So
Yeah, I was a little low. Yeah. So for most people, they should like 80% of people should just buy into their 401k and health savings accounts and and just ride the market because they don't know what they're looking at.
I mean, in most cases, you're going to average out a much better. That's just through pretty much every year of history. Um, if you look at stocks compared to bonds or gold or any other type of investment asset, it's done better. I think real estate is the only thing that averages better than the market usually. Um, but of course, there's also you can have tremendous real estate bubbles sometimes, like you had right before 2008. But um, that long-term compounding that's made possible from the market, which is stocks, usually when people say the market, that was true before there was a Federal Reserve, and that was true after there's a Federal Reserve, but before we went off the gold standard, and then that was true after we went off the gold standard, because that's just a part of the fundamental properties of the business, which is what a stock gives you ownership in that. And so the historical average, over say like a 10-year period, whichever 10-year period you quote is usually about 10%. If you want to be a bit more flexible, you can say it ranges between 8 and 12%. Compound, like average annual return, with that's assuming dividends reinvested, ignoring the impacts of taxation. So most people, if you do that in your 401k, the 401k goes into an S&P 500 fund or a Dow fund or similar type of stock market fund. That's what's going to happen if you don't overthink it. Because again, I talked a lot about the psychology of investing and why that's important. If you don't overthink it, it's really hard to self-sabotage. A lot of bad returns in investing comes from bad psychology. It's not even so much bad picks, but bad decisions in the course of making those picks. Like people panicking and just selling at a loss because the stock temporarily goes down, and then the stock eventually does well long term, but they sold at a loss, they didn't go back in, and then they missed what they were ultimately right about, like psychological things like that. People who are very proactive with their 401ks will often do that. They will get out of the market right after it crashes, and then they will not get back in until it's after it's bounced back like 30 or 40%, and they just lock in a long-term loss. They miss the rebound, or they even miss some long-term gains if they sit in cash before even starting it. So that's why with 401k, and if you have an HSA, you can put it into a stock fund as well. It's a similar thing. It's some of the best investors are the people who don't overthink it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
pretty much I would be paying you $20 a month for you to tell me to say buy and hold, which is if
Oh.
you read stuff, you would know this already. Like,
So it's
I
not totally. It's not $20 a month. It's one time, and you're a subscriber to Jeff, right? So
affirmative.
so you get $10. It's only one
Alright.
time. You only have to pay again if you get banned for breaking the rules, and then that's assuming I let you back in. You have to pay
Who
the
would want to
membership.
pay again after getting banned? I would not.
I don't think they would.
I wouldn't
but
want
that,
to be part of that community ever again.
There's
no,
nutty people.
I don't think so. But it's essentially it's manufacturing an asshole tax. So
Yeah,
they're
that
gonna,
makes me want to be part of even less. Now
Yeah.
that I know it's because I'm an asshole.
yeah, exactly. And I'm a big fan of asshole taxes. Having worked at a business where you deal with a lot of assholes, a criminal defense law firm, the more you can price in their assholery, the better.
Right, but
It
I don't want them
works.
coming back. Like if I have to ban someone, like the
Well,
trolls that get banned here, they don't have the option to come back. It's a one-way ticket to hell. There's no return trip ever.
I would say it depends on the nature of what got them banned. So if they were a completely cancerous human being, I just wouldn't even give them the chance to come back. But I am saying like that's the only context in which someone would have to pay more than once is if they get banned, they lose their membership, and they want to come back.
Yeah, I'm with Joe. I like monetary based soft bans because I make money from it. I don't want to go. I don't like that. I don't like that building fences because it doesn't benefit me at the moment.
It
Once I'm
incentivizes finding reasons to ban people.
well, I don't really find. I think I blocked one person on the channel because they do all California posts, and that's about it. So, but
You have it where people can pay to get unblocked or come back.
I haven't needed to do that yet, but I totally would.
Yeah, move. Although, if there were anything somebody could try, that would be it. Hey, Manel.
That's a good Moose one-liner there.
Yeah, I'm kind of a fry whore. I'm discovering.
Man, Trump, he gets into you. He charms
did.
you.
That's the cult of Trump. Yes, I'm part of the cult now.
If you're gonna be in a cult, it might as well be fun, right?
But yeah.
It better be fun. I'm gonna
Trump
quit.
Trump makes culting fun.
He sure does.
Yeah,
right?
he does.
People love this now, right? They love.
Yeah, the thing with Trump is that he'll disappoint you later by not following through with
Probably.
his
Yeah,
promises.
I expect to be disappointed in him.
Okay.
Because I have no idea what he's going to do. And there's no way everything he's going to do is going to align 100% with what I think he should do. So there's going to definitely probably be more disappointments than not.
Yeah, enjoy the ride then.
Yeah, but
They have a bucket of fries?
Yeah, of course.
To what you said earlier, Hank, if you just want to keep it simple and put your money into a market index fund with a low expense ratio, and that's the extent you want to go, then yeah, I would say my server is only for people who really want to learn deeper things, especially when it comes to individual companies and things like that, who really want to.
This wasn't on the menu.
You know what would be useful if I could get data about how the company works, so I could decide if I want to work there next. That's what information that's gold to me. So.
Yeah, that would be interesting, especially because I found that companies will do job listings, and then what the actual job experience is like is nothing like what the listing indicated it would be. And I think that's to me it's annoying if you disappoint your employer, if you are not the employee that you suggested you would be in the interview process, right? They just drop you. But if they don't uphold their end of it, right? If they're completely different than they led you to believe, right? There's not really any accountability for them.
Yeah, not in the short term. In the long term, they'll lose a whole bunch of value, screw up their release like Intel has, but that takes a really long time, and they're still getting welfare checks. So.
And in the meantime, you still have to make your life work, right? You need to be able to get your shit done, get paid well enough to, put out whatever your personal fires are. And I think that's just where's the issue, right? Systemically, it can work itself out, but in the meanwhile, you, the individual, kind of screwed for at least a while, right?
Exactly.
Right. But again, this is a big reason why I took interest in the stuff that I do with stocks and investing, because building your wealth, gives you some more flexibility with that. You're in more of a position to say, you know what, fuck this, I'm going somewhere else, and be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Untrackable. What's up? Happy Hump Day. And happy Thanksgiving tomorrow.
Is it really a
This
hump
is
day if Thanksgiving is the next day?
yeah. People still get their hump. They can still get their hump in.
It's a bigger hump.
It's still it doesn't change the structure of the week, so it's still the hump
I would say Tuesday
for
is
the
the hump.
week.
Well, it makes another weekend, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Tuesday's the hump.
But unfortunately for me, this is where my normal weekend is anyway. So nothing
Ah,
Do
special
you
for me.
do you get holiday pay or anything?
Yeah.
Ah,
So I'll make more this week than a normal week, since I'll be technically have that holiday in on day normally be off.
nice.
But yeah, is there like other applications for like the investor mindset other than actual picking stuff and waiting for it to go up? Because that'd be interesting.
well, I would say if we talk about the games, I think that's probably because I have noticed that there are certain logical fallacies people make in playing games, especially when it comes to like knowing what sort of the risk reward asymmetry is, certain emotional ways of thinking that cloud people's judgment. Um, and so, um, if you're interested in just maybe having um, like a community over time where we could organize games like that, maybe we could do them privately in the server. Maybe some of them will be streamed or recorded for content. If that part is interesting to you, then maybe it's worth it.
Yeah, maybe the $10 I won't really miss it anyways.
Yeah. And seeing as how like you're not really an asshole from what I can tell, you basically have that membership for life. So because I don't
I,
imagine you're going to get yourself banned in my server, at least from what I've seen of you so far.
I'm an asshole when someone deserves it,
Okay.
but that's about it. You probably will never deserve it.
Hopefully not. And hopefully then the paywalling, cause part of the idea too is anything you paywall, it gets people to take it more seriously than if it's just
Yes.
free.
Yep.
Right? Like I put money into this, I don't want to screw up my experience here. I better not be an asshole. And I found like um when I worked at that law firm, and even other attorneys who had worked at different practices before could attest to the same thing. Some of our most ungrateful, uncooperative clients were the ones that had lower prices for their cases. The ones that paid more tended to be better clients. They listened more, they took it seriously, they tried to get as much value out of their service as possible. And in many ways, that's sort of like you could say a psychological fallacy that is sort of in investing, where people feel like something, if they have to pay more for something, then it must be worth more, and that's not always the case. But knowing that psychology, you know, if nothing else, I'm asserting that there's a certain amount of value. You should at least pay for it, and then you'll be incentivized, not to lose it.
Yes.
Yeah. So I that's why even with Jeff, when I said, try to monetize the drama, because if people are going to bring the drama on, then you have to basically say, hey, my channel is worth something, and if you want to bring the drama in, pay for drama court.
Yeah, like I'm the only one that probably use it because I know I could win in it. In the part, the first person to choose Jeff if he gave me a good reason to. In the second one, I don't know who, so it's probably not gonna be that. This you won't have that many customers.
Yeah.
And
And tallow. Oh, they add beef to their oil. That sounds even more delicious.
ooh, yeah, it is.
It does. Jordan Peterson would love it.
I already want some more. I can't wait for Monday. I have a I'm going back to that WorkSource place Monday. They have an in-person hiring event, and I'm gonna stop by and get another batch on my way home.
Yeah, hiring events the last place I got. I guess second last because I had an internal
Hey,
promotion too.
untrackable.
So
Your tea.
we I changed companies after the last time I got a job.
What's up?
Uh,
Oh, I'm doing good. Work today, off tomorrow. Then I got to work again on Friday. It's all good. Good to see everybody.
Oh, okay. So you have Thanksgiving off at least. We're doing an all-day stream. Um, you're welcome to stop by.
What is that, tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay. If I get a chance, it'll probably be earlier. But yeah, sounds cool.
I'm starting when I wake up, and I'm gonna go probably to the evening. People
are you
can
gonna
come
host
and
all
eat
your?
their turkey or whatever together.
Are you gonna host it all yourself, or you can get Moose to help you or something?
He can help if you want. He has family. He might be doing a real Thanksgiving. Plus, he
Yeah,
cooks. He has a family. He cooks. But he's also a YouTube addict, so who knows?
I don't know.
He'll probably find a way to do both.
But yes, I'm gonna get back to Jeff. Yesterday, you said that you had the same degree I did, and also were interested in some of the technology things. Like, did you see my post on the last video saying that I was interested in refreshing people's technology too? But I want to use like, I don't know if you heard about CyberDecks, but they're custom, guess, computing devices that they just put fabricated together from off-the-shelf parts.
No, I did not. I saw something about you not having been convicted of anything criminal. You know what? I'm realizing that YouTube doesn't notify me of all my comments. It
Yeah,
hides some of them, and I have to go into the settings and look them up, and I never
yeah,
remember to do that.
that's factual for everyone. In fact, sometimes the
Is there a
settings
way to
just
get
don't
them to
refresh.
stop?
Yes, I think so, but I forgot how.
Let's see. No, I don't see anything about. Was it on one of my channels? One
It
of my
was
videos?
tribalism trolls from yesterday.
Let me go look it up then.
I could just share the screen. That may be a little faster, so I have it up.
No, I didn't see this at all. It didn't even.
Yeah,
It wasn't even. I just went into the studio and looked at the comments, and it wasn't even there.
I'm not surprised.
Wow.
You can't.
Why am I not getting all of the comments? Let's see. We're not going to get good career services. Well, I'm going to give them a chance. I signed up for a bunch of their workshops, so I'll let y'all know. Um, you might as well wing it. You already have jobs. Yeah, that's part of the problem, though. I don't know if they want the people that can do it better by applying directly. Yeah, but some of these workshops are how to maximize your chances when you apply directly. It's job search strategies. Yeah, I never use LinkedIn. I just resurrected it a few weeks ago to promote the channel, but that's it.
But that's a good use of it.
Is to learn how to manufacture. What are cyber decks?
Yeah, those are those custom computers that people build from just look out
Oh, and they're
electronic
not. They
parts.
don't have all the Windows crap and all the gatekeeping stuff on them.
Yeah, well, it's easy to get rid of Windows crap and gatekeeping stuff on it, but if you want to go further beyond, you have to do some install some electronics together, but you just get them all off the shelf.
I had Linux for a while and I really liked it, but it when I tried to upgrade it, it crashed my computer, so I took it off.
Yeah, that makes sense. Right now, if we use Fedora, it probably won't crash.
I was using Mint, I think.
Yeah, if you try Fedora, it probably won't crash. That's what I use now. I got off of the Debian stuff because of that kind of thing.
And how it runs StreamYard pretty well and all the other stuff.
Well, I'm using StreamYard right now, so I assume so.
Are you using it with Chrome
Yes, I'm
browser?
used to. Yeah, I use Chromium.
Well, you know what? I might look into that if I ever upgrade my laptop. I'm really curious why I didn't get this comment, and it's making me wonder how many other comments I'm missing. Yeah, I didn't see the one from Moose either. God dang. I'm just going to have to start manually checking my videos.
There's probably some setting, but I don't know it yet. But
Are you talking about? You're not talking about the live comments. You're talking about the ones on the page.
The ones
itself,
underneath
right?
the video.
Okay.
I've been missing a ton of them.
I wonder if I'm getting any. Let me take a look.
Is it any content in the comment that would be deemed like some sort of flaggable by YouTube?
It doesn't seem like it, because they have a section where they hold comments for approval, and that's usually where those go. But and I have to go manually look for those. They don't notify me of them. But the comment like Hank just posted, I didn't see anything in there that would cause them to not let me know about it.
That was
Or to
weird.
hold it in any kind of way.
Something like said something crazy, use certain words, like triggering words of the system, like obscenities or violence, stuff like that. But I don't know why.
I really haven't got a lot of those, believe it or not.
Yeah, but I don't know why, like talking tech shop would do that.
It's just YouTube wants to be efficient. It just hides stuff from you in the name of efficiency. Sometimes I write a comment and it disappears from me unless I refresh the page a couple times. So
it must be some weird YouTube thing, but to me, like, being the advanced technology platform they are, it doesn't seem like it should happen.
Yeah, it has to do with their storage.
Especially when it's communication media, like the comments are paramount. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I agree. Hey, what's up?
Hey, Mike.
What's up? Hey, what's up, man? Hope everybody's gonna have a good Thanksgiving tomorrow.
Yeah, are you making a turkey? I'm doing an all-day stream.
Yeah, I got a turkey. I have a nice big turkey. I have all the sides, all the fixings. As
What are your sides? Okay, tell me about your sides, because I have opinions.
So we do. So I don't like cranberry. I don't like the cranberry sauce, but I know my family does. But I'm really
homemade or from a can?
From a can.
From a can. I was going to say from a can. There's no substitute.
Yeah. But I really do like. I do love the cornbread stuffing, and we do something a little different. And Italians, we do lasagna as well.
Oh, I like lasagna
on Thanksgiving, so we'll make a lasagna as well. We'll have turkey and lasagna. We're gonna do.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Tell me about casseroles. Green bean.
Yep. So French
fried onions.
Yes, green bean casserole. You do the French cut green beans with of course the mushroom soup, and then
the dirty onions.
Yep, and you do the fried onions on, and then we also do sweet potato casserole as well. So it's like yams,
like as opposed to a pie. That's when it's in the dish with the marshmallows on them.
With the dish with the brown sugar, and then of course the marshmallows on top melted.
Okay.
And not too crazy. And the weird thing is, I don't know what it is about me. I like baked beans. And sometimes we'll do like baked beans on the side, like turkey and baked beans.
Is that the same thing as pork and beans, or is that different?
No pork.
About the pork,
no pork.
Yes.
No pork, just baked beans.
But it's the same kind of bean, just no pork.
Yeah, just no pork.
Yeah. I can
think it's navy beans
sauce thing because like my mother-in-law basically organizes the main courses, and then I got a brother-in-law and a sister-in-law, and they all do casserole. they do the, what do you call it, the appetizers and stuff. But my wife is in charge of the cranberry sauce made from scratch.
Yeah.
And
Untrackable. Okay, sorry.
and she, and she puts you know, tiny up cut a pear and put it in there.
A pear?
All right. So another thing that we do, and it's very Southern. It's because, like I said, my girl's very Southern, and we do broccoli casserole. You know what that is?
Oh, is
Yes,
that like
yes.
with the cheese and the broccoli and
Yep.
cheese?
You get the small cut broccoli, and you get the cheddar cheese Campbell soup. Then you mix it, and then you put the breadcrumbs over top, and then you bake it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So you got the cheddar, you got the broccoli, you got the green bean, then you got the freaking sweet potato. It's like, yo, it's so
Seems
good,
like
man.
a nice, easy casserole.
You put a scoop.
What
on
about
top,
like a
and then-
Rotel tomato dip
Oh, I used to love that. So we used to get the Rotel. We get the
with
beef,
the Velveeta?
the Rotel, and the Velveeta, and then we would get the really heavy nachos. Like you have to get the thick ones.
Yeah, you
So
almost need the heavy kind.
Yeah, the
thick
round.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
the scoops.
Yeah, this looks. And
The
we would
Rotel.
make it, and you can alter it. You can make it spicier than not spicier. So you can put a little bit of cayenne in there, just a little bit of cayenne. It'll make it spicier. Because the Rotel is spicy, but you can make it a little spicier if you want.
Hey, like you
Man,
said,
I'm already ready for tomorrow now.
Yeah, it's
I'm
gonna be
not
great.
quite-
It's gonna be hard watching everyone else eat all that good
It's gonna
food.
be turkey.
Yes.
It's gonna be turkey and sides and football. That's what you got. And you have to watch football while you eat the turkey. You have to watch the football at the same time. It's gonna be
Yeah,
good.
me and my brother-in-law and my friend, we hang out and we're the ones in charge of carving the turkey.
Yeah.
And it's like we're the the sliced white breast is always that picture perfect on the table, and that's what everybody expects. We sit there and we finger pick the turkey legs because they got
Yeah.
like those cartilage fins in them, so you can't just like bite into it. But we finger those things to death while we're carving the turkey.
The best thing I've ever had in my life is when we used to go to Busch Gardens. We'd get the big turkey legs, like the huge turkey drums, they were like the big ones, and they were like, I think they were like $8 or $9 back then. And that's a lot of money, like 20 years ago. But like we would get those big old turkey legs. There is nothing better than dark meat on a turkey. There's nothing better. I mean, it's the best.
Except for white meat.
No,
I don't
the
like
dark meat's
the-
better.
I don't like the white meat. I like the darker meat.
Well,
like
then
'cause it's
good. I'll
more-
have your white meat, and you could have my
Yeah.
dark.
No problem. Hey Jeff, that's
I'm
your
a dark meat fan as well, Mike. It's okay.
yeah, Jeff. If you like white meat, that's your preference.
It is. It took me a while to even appreciate dark meat chicken, and now I have
Oh,
more of a taste
and
for it. But I
that's
still
why-
prefer the breast.
That's why I like duck so much. Duck is all dark meat.
You
So
can
if
have
you get
all
like
my
a
duck.
you roast the duck, it's all dark meat. But yeah, we were gonna do we were gonna do salmon, and we switched it up. We were gonna get a big piece of salmon to make, but we switched. It
I
up.
did. I am going to take a big. My sister and I got to trade food, and I just got a
Yeah.
salmon. I'm marinating with lemon and onion.
There's different ways you can make it. Now I have a cedar plank, so if you make the salmon on a cedar plank, it's a whole different flavor. You cook it on a cedar plank. But yeah, no, it's good. It's good.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
And lemon and onion. I'm gonna broil it. I have a London broil steak. I'm gonna broil that. I have that marinated with onions, garlic, and teriyaki sauce.
Yeah.
And I have a chicken it's being marinated with what's called not ranch dressing, Italian dressing, and apples. And I'm gonna boil that too.
You making it all yourself?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh man.
Yeah, we're gonna fry this year. We're gonna fry the turkey. We're gonna do a deep fried turkey this year. So I haven't done it in a few years, but we got the peanut oil for it. We're gonna deep fry it. We have the deep fryer. You cut. It's almost like it's like a chain, like a medieval chain. You dip it in, and it fries the turkey in there. But like I said, you have to do it away from the house. So we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it in the walkway in front of the house because I think I told you guys this. A friend of mine who I used to work with deep fried a turkey next to his house, and it was still frozen. And
Oh,
I
he
told you,
burned his house down.
yeah, he burned his house down because it
Man.
exploded, and the grease and the hot fire went on his plastics, the plastic siding on people's houses, like the plastic siding, yeah, his house caught fire. Yeah, he lost everything. Yeah, for making a turkey.
It happens every year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, right.
This is why I like use cooking in the oven and the instant pot. If something
Yeah,
gets on fire, it's contained already. I
no,
don't have to worry too much.
but
But
hey,
still,
you can you can fry stuff. Just fry it not right next to your house. You take it out into the driveway. I'm saying with him, like he
yeah,
cooked it, like he opened his back door and just fried it like 1 foot from his house, and it went and it just blew up because it was still halfway frozen,
yeah.
and
If
his
if I have
siding caught fire, and the house was like 3/4 of the way burnt. Yeah, and
if I
luckily,
have to fry something, I'm gonna use
yeah,
the wok and shallow fry it. It's much safer,
yeah, yeah.
and much better for your body too.
Yo,
And I have a
the frying the deep fried turkey explosions, like I said, it happens every year. And no
yeah,
doubt, I was brand new in my house, and it was our first summer in the house, and had some friends over, and we were gonna grill out. It's just that circle black, charcoal grill, just a little thing, and we
mhm,
pulled it out about 3 feet out of the garage, and we put the charcoal in it. We put a little lighter fluid on it, and we lit it up. And the flames, they didn't shoot up. It didn't like explode, but
yeah,
as the charcoal was burning, man, the flames must have got like 6 feet high. And we're sitting there drinking a beer, smoking a cigarette, letting the coals do their thing. And I swear
yeah.
to God, I jumped up out of my seat and I yanked that daggone grill about another 10 feet. And so the grill was in the middle of the driveway instead of 3 feet away from the house because I got the siding and everything too. And I was like, I just bought this house. I'm going to
Yeah.
lose it with my first grilled burger. You know what I mean?
I'm telling you, you guys don't understand. It's like an explosion. It goes, it comes flying out. It's like, yo, it's scary as hell. And if you're over the grill when you drop it in, you can get yourself burnt up. No, but you're right though. Untrackable, you're right. But yeah, my boy, I talked to him and he's like, you had a house fire, and I'm like, oh shit, like the next day, I'm like, oh man, that's terrible. What happened? He goes, yeah, we were trying to fry a turkey. I'm like, I mean,
God, the people you
imagine.
hang out with.
No, this is someone I worked with, and explain that to like the insurance company. Well, what happened? Well, I was frying a turkey, and luckily he had renter's insurance, but he lost everything. He lost almost everything he owned, like all his clothes and stuff like that. So we helped him out. We pitched in. I gave him some of my old clothes. Everybody helped out our someone we work with. But no, it's just like it was one of those things where he didn't expect it to explode like that. He dropped it in and boom, it went crazy. So Untrackable's right. The flames will go 6-7 feet in the air. It's wild. It's crazy, man. But hey, that's
Have you
turkey talk.
have you guys ever when it comes to turkeys, especially in the oven, have you guys ever experimented with the oven bags? It's like a plastic bag that's oven safe that
Mhm.
is
I
supposed to
think
maintain.
so. I think Mike used to use them when he made his turkeys. He used them for
Not
the pot roast too.
Yes, not so untrackable. Not with the turkey, but when I make pot roast, I use the bag. I use the oven safe bag. You put everything in the bag. You put all the accoutrements. You put all the vegetables in there, and you tie the bag off, and you just let it cook in the bag.
Hey,
Yeah.
Mr. P, how are you? Are y'all settled in, and are you gonna be able to have a Thanksgiving? I was thinking about y'all the other day. I hope everything's well.
Man, I want pot roast.
What
That
did
Tella
was
and Barbara knock it off or get the hell out of here.
you
did
know
Mr.
Go
P and Shameless Move.
You too, Pat.
Is that what
Yeah,
you're
they
asking,
moved.
Jeff?
Yeah, they
Okay.
did.
They
They had
moved.
to get out of there, and they were live streaming their move for a while, and then they
Oh,
dropped off.
I'm
that's
sure
why
they're
we haven't
good.
seen
I'm
them
sure they're
lately.
good.
Okay.
I'm sure they're good. That was my ex. That was my ex's favorite thing to make. She loved pot roast. She just loved it. We would get that cheap cut of meat, get all those vegetables, throw them in there. We'd get the little seasoning packet, and we put it in that bag that you put in the oven. Oh my god, it was so good. And we would cook rice. We'd have to put it over rice, white rice. It was good. Good stuff.
So yeah, I didn't know. You can think of marinating as a safety feature because if you do it properly, you're not gonna have a half frozen bird that can blow up your house.
I could
Yeah.
see, like, I could see Hank dropping a frozen bird in the fryer, and his hat catches on fire. He's like running around in circles, putting his hat out. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. No, but no, seriously, it's dangerous. Using that fryer, you have to know what you're doing. It's not like a grill. You're using like boiling grease, or boiling oil. You have to know exactly what you're doing. You have to lower it slow. You have to know if it's all the way thawed. So you're right, Hank. You're right. Yeah, you can cause some serious damage. Yeah, that's it. I love talking about cooking. I love it. Love it.
Yeah,
I should have been. I
gets
should have been.
everybody's juices flowing.
I should have been. I should have been. We all of us should have been a chef. We should all have been a chef.
I don't know why you say that.
Because well, not you, Jeff, because you can't cook.
Okay.
But everyone else.
I can be the greeter or the host or something, but keep me out of the kitchen.
You're the bus boy.
Yeah, I'll bus. I've done that
It,
before.
it's okay, Jeff. When I was in the Army, I was a cook. I was a 92 Golf, and I got lucky enough to be on 2 culinary arts teams. And it was not my skill that got me on those teams. It was just me as a person, and I have no passion for cooking. So I was like the supply guy. I was the dishwasher. I was the ready man for anything. I would assist people with their live stuff, and now it's like, hey, when somebody says, "Hey, we need you to cut this up," and I do have the knowledge, so it's like, well, how would you like it cut? And they're like, well, just cut it. And I was like, well, no, how would you like it cut? Do you want it?
I don't know any cuts.
Would you like it brunet? You want?
Oh Lord, I don't even know what. I'd be the same way. Just cut it.
It's funny like that, but
Make 8 pieces. There you go.
What's brunet? What's a brunet cut?
Honestly, I don't even know anymore. I just put that name for the That's how much I care about cooking.
Good thing I didn't want one.
But we do play a game when it comes to like the chores, setting the table, carving the turkey, doing the dishes, taking out the trash, stuff like that. To where it's like it's almost like a champagne glass, and depending on what symbol your glass has, will determine your chore. And it's all
that's
random.
cool.
Yeah.
I remember, I was working. I was always working since I was like 12 years old. Like we would shovel snow. We would, whatever we had to do to make money, like in New York. Like side jobs. Like not on the books. But I remember my first real job where I got a 1044, is it called? Like back in the day when I was a busboy.
Like a W-2 form.
Yeah, W-2. I was a busboy. I was 16 years old, and it was the most fun I ever had. I'm a busboy.
Was it an Italian restaurant?
No, this was a American fare. So it's like more like a bistro, like all kinds of different kinds of food. Yeah, well, it was called Spinnakers, but it was kind of like that. But it was kind of fancy though. It was 3 levels, and all I can tell you is this.
Did you have your flair?
I was enamored. I was enamored by the cooks. The cooks were like they were so crazy. I'm like a 16-year-old kid. And these guys are like in their mid-30s, and we after work we'd go out to another place. Just like I didn't drink. Of course, I'm young, but we'd go out to get food, and these were like pirates. They were like a band of crazy men. and it was just cool. Like chefs are crazy. They're wild.
I've heard that.
Yeah, they're wild, man.
Like
And
Gordon Ramsay.
yeah, I seen them get into fights and shit. Like I was like, what is this? Is crazy. Like we're at the Jewish Mother, and we're like, it's called this place, and they're like scrapping with people in the parking lot. I'm like, I'm a 16-year-old kid. I'm like, what's going on? Like I don't even like I'm a kid, you know, a teenager, and yeah, it's man, that whole restaurant world, the whole restaurant scene. Now we're talking about. Okay, I'm 50. We're talking about when I was 16, so we're talking about way over 30 years ago. But it was an experience. I did it for a year. I think I was a busboy for a year. Was it no 9 months? Then I had to go back. Then I went back to school. It's 9 months. But yeah, it was one of those crazy things, man. Because I moved to Virginia, then I moved back to New York. You know, so I came here for a while, and then I went back to New York again, and then finished up school. But working in that, all I'm trying to say is working in that restaurant. It's like 16 or 17.
Taylor, nobody stop you from making the comments. You don't have to accept the membership. That doesn't mean you have to come to the channel. I get memberships from channels all the time that I don't go to. Quit playing the victim and making drama. You know which comments are allowed here and which ones are not. You've been here long enough.
Yeah.
Quit directing your drama at Mike. If you want to make general comments about the topic and participate in the conversation, that's one thing. But if you're coming here to pleasure yourself over your hatred for Mike and attack Mike, that's not welcomed here. I hope I cleared that up for you, Barbara Knight, and everybody else that's here to troll.
You know what's funny? The funny thing is, I'm sorry, Hank, let me cut you off. The funny thing is that we don't talk about them. I don't talk about them. I don't care about them. So like, why don't they just go away? You know?
Yeah,
they can stay as long as they follow the rules.
It's just a peanut gallery. I mean, I'm the guy who was yelling last week, and I don't care. Why do they care? It doesn't make any. Come on.
They're very broken people inside.
Yeah.
And outside, apparently.
Let's all at least give homage to Untrackable's sweet beard.
Oh, let's see. Did you do something different with it? You look like an ortho bro.
Good
I like the hood.
Wow. Yeah, it's actually it's two hoods because for Veterans Day, my boss gifted me a jacket. It's got the company logo. It's got my name. It's got the American flag on it. It says United States Army on the other sleeve. And
nice.
Oh wow.
And it's like a rain jacket, like a light rain jacket / windbreaker, but it fits perfectly over a hoodie. And it's probably in the mid 50s in my garage right now. So I wore it to work, and I'm doing all right now. So
good. Yeah, it's cold. It's guys. I don't know how temperatures where you're at. It's cold here. It's like 50 something degrees in Virginia, which is strange because Virginia's usually warm. I don't know how your temperature guys are, but it's cold here. I opened the window because I like to have fresh air come in, and it was cold. It's cold out.
It's like 45 here.
Yeah, I talk to some Canadians quite frequently, and you know, if you live in a cold place and they consider it normal. I was talking to a guy last night, and he would wear two hoodies. Like he was wearing a hoodie just chilling on the stream, but he would put on another hoodie like when he would go outside to smoke. And but he was talking, it's in the 20s or the 30s, and it's going to get much colder when you talk about like February. But here in where I'm in North Carolina, it's like, hey, if it gets below 60, I'm cold. If it gets any lower than that, like I am bone chilled. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, it needs to be like 32.
Oh no, y'all got something wrong with y'all.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
That is too cold for humans.
I love it. And one thing, and we're not too far in Trackable. I'm in Virginia. You're in North Carolina. We're only a state away. But and I think Joe, aren't you in North Carolina as well?
Yeah.
Oh, we might get our first chapter of Outliers.
And I'm a little bit north of you.
North Carolina or Maine? Who's going to be the first?
Yeah.
Probably
Hank, where are
Maine.
you? Hank, where are you at?
Pittsburgh.
Oh, you're in Pittsburgh. Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
So, are you a Steelers fan?
No, I don't have time for sports ball.
Okay. I got time. I got time for that. I got time for that. You're like Jeff. Jeff lives in Seattle, and they didn't even know the Seahawks were his team. He's like, wait, what's my team?
No, I knew they were the team, but I didn't know much else about them. I
Yeah.
thought the Washington Redskins were up here. I will admit to that.
Yeah, I'm like, no, dude, that's in DC.
Yeah,
I was
the
like,
other
Jeff,
Washington.
dude, I thought you were joking. I was like, no, dude, that's
No,
in DC, dude. Like,
I'm probably
like-
even more sports ignorant than I am video game ignorant.
that's literally across the country, like one side of the country to the other side of the country. No, that's a whole different thing. No, but the hot team this year is the team to watch is going to be the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are going to be the first team. They're 10
Kansas
and 1.
City.
Yeah, they're 10-1. They could be the first team to ever win 3 Super Bowls in a row. No team has ever done it 3 years in a row. So
That's
that
factual.
could possibly happen. Yeah,
Do-
which
do-
would
do you
break,
believe- Do,
Go ahead.
do you believe in the conspiracy that the things that have been pointed out about protecting the Chiefs, just like almost like how Tom Brady was protected as a quarterback? Now it's almost like, hey, you have to make
Yeah.
this happen.
Do I think that some things? Do I think some things are fixed in professional sports? Yes, I do. I do. I really do think some things were, but yeah, protecting him as in not letting him get hit as much, or calling plays in their favor. I think that does happen. I think some years they pick a team that's going to win, and then they make it possible. The refs make it possible for that team to win. But on raw talent, the Chiefs are very, very good, super good. I mean,
I do believe they're
Mahomes-
good.
yeah,
You see some of these calls that are even
Yeah.
upon review,
Yeah.
they're still getting them wrong, and it's like, wait,
Yeah.
what's going on? I've only watched one football game this year. I'm boycotting not because of football. I'm boycotting because of my own life, but I really don't miss it too much. I miss the people that I would hang out with watching football, but
Yeah.
I don't necessarily miss because I'm a Panthers fan and we suck anyway, and it's like,
Carolina.
I would say all the years I've been watching football, this year in particular has been really suspect with all these weird calls. Like what Untrackable is saying is they don't call certain things and they call things wrong, and it what it does is it turns the game to the other person. They're almost giving them these bullcrap calls, But I've seen it with firsthand. I've seen it. The Panthers, man. I've been to a Panthers game. Cam Newton was really good. He's got a podcast, I think. I think Cam Newton has a
Yes,
podcast.
he
Yeah.
does.
Tell him to come on the
I
show.
watch every once in a while.
So Cam Newton, he's as big as a linebacker, and he was a quarterback, but he was so athletic. I think he had some injuries and stuff like that. Joe, are you a Panthers fan? You're in North Carolina.
No, I have a similar answer as Hank. I don't have time for sports ball.
I'm
You
a
know,
big.
even
I'm
though
a
I
big-
even though I went to Carolina, I'm not even a Tar Heels fan. If I'm being,
really, you went to Chapel Hill? You went to Chapel Hill? Oh,
Yeah.
nice, man. Did you
Yeah,
get to meet
and I-
Jordan?
No, I did not meet him. He was always in the building right next to mine wherever I went, so I just constantly missed him.
Yeah. Doesn't Jordan own what part of the team does he own? Not is it the Panthers? What team does he have a partial ownership of?
I remember he owned the Charlotte Hornets.
The Hornets.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Jordan Peterson?
No, Michael Jordan.
Okay, the other Jordan.
Yeah.
The
how you
Jordan.
know.
How about
That's
the
how you
Jordan?
know what type of crowd Jeff is from when he hears Jordan in
Well,
the
I'm
context
trying-
of
I
basketball.
remember Michael Jordan now from vaguely back in the day.
Mhm.
Big,
The
tall
greatest
basketball player. He made
The
shoes
greatest-
or something.
the greatest basketball player I ever met in history in my life is I got to meet Bill Russell. Bill Russell he played for the Boston Celtics, and he had
I remember Nipsey Russell. I thought he was that comedy
Nipsey
BET
Russell.
comedy guy. Who am I thinking of? Bill Russell.
Bill Russell from the Boston Celtics, but I believe he had, if I'm not mistaken, he had 11 championships. That's the
You're so
most
stupid.
anyone ever had. 11 NBA championships. And it was cool. I met him at the Norfolk Scope for an exhibition game for the Charlotte Hornets and the Atlanta Hawks. So I got to meet, and we were alums. My family were alums, so we got to actually meet a lot of the players. And this is back when Alonzo Mourning played, Dominique Wilkins played. Bill Russell was there as a spectator. He wasn't playing; he was just there. He was older, but we got to meet a lot of these players. Man, it was cool. We got to sit courtside. It was so cool, man. And this was in the Norfolk Scope. Yeah, it was awesome, man. And it was for an ODU alum only game. It was pretty sweet, man. ODU is a Norfolk college, Old Dominion University. Yeah, it was neat. It was really, really neat. Yeah, it was cool, man. But I got to meet Bill Russell. That's like a legendary player, legendary, from like what I think the 50s, the 60s, 70s, something like that. But he was a legendary player. And I remember meeting some of the players. They were so cool. Some were so cool, and some were just a-holes. So like sometimes you meet like a pro player or a boxer or someone like that, and you're like, oh man, this is like, man, I love this guy, right? And they're just like a jerk. They're just a jerk to you, you know? So sometimes when people say don't meet your heroes, you ever heard that term? Don't meet your heroes? Because you might like, man, this person's a jerk, you know? I love
Mr. Cheesehead, the problem is I don't know how to tell who knows what they're talking about or not. Because I know even less than the ones that don't know what they're talking about.
So they were on a panel earlier. We're not going to mention who it was, which I'm never
Oh,
going
that's
back.
why my numbers are so high. The drama trolls
Yeah,
followed you here. They didn't
I'm
get
never
enough of the
going back
first
to it.
panel.
I couldn't believe what they were saying, and it was allowed to
Yeah,
be said.
we
I
don't.
couldn't.
It's probably
We
the same stuff they usually say.
I
So
could
But
not
we all have an
believe.
idea.
Yeah,
that's what you said just now, like Mike, what you said about never meet your heroes, and Jeff, what you were talking about the trolls.
yeah,
It kind of comes back to a reciprocal statement of
hmm
why these people are taught to not like get too involved with fans
yeah,
because you are the successful icon of their brain, but there are millions of them that are trying to tug at your coattails or get a piece of your ear or put something in your brain or get a handout or something like
Put something
that,
in your
even if
brain.
it's an autograph. And if you give them the time, they will
hmm
suck the art out of you and make you they will make you, they will try to make you like them, and they'll be like, hey,
No,
come out with us. Oh, he's a normal dude,
it's perfect.
but
Mhm. That's perfectly said. So what basically intractable basically is that's perfectly said. They want you to assimilate to them to join their little crew, to join their little runnings, you know. And I don't do it. The reason why they hate me is I'm a free thinker, and they hate the fact that I like Jeff. They hate it. They hate the fact I like Jeff.
I
They go,
think they hate the fact that I like you more.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
probably it.
yeah. But the thing is that Untrackable's right. They want to try to persuade people to go their way. And then there are some people on these platforms that don't adhere to what they want you to do. You know,
Well,
you break a
you were talking more like real celebrities in real life.
well, I mean, it kind of goes both ways because, there are, you see the shows where people have their channels and they write up their scripts, they've got their stuff on point, and then they give it their point of view and they get the clicks and views because they put out a good production with a solid statement, like that. But when you do the panel thing, that's kind of how I felt the very first time I came on panel. Not that I was a fanboy of where I was, but it was an open place and I went there. But I've seen some fanboys come up and um with their fandom, it kind of set an awkward tone
Oh, like even on a
because
panel, like if somebody well known shows up on a panel, it changes
if
the panel.
the channel owner opens a panel and a big fanboy comes up, it's going to be less about, the topic at hand and stuff like that, and it's going to be more about that person being like, oh my god, watch all your videos, I get on my knees for you
I
because
guess I've never had that happen
it's like,
yet.
Yeah.
man, what? Yeah.
It's funny because on Trackwell and everybody up here, hey, what's up, Leggy? But you ever
Hey, Leggy.
notice, like, when they come up, right? When they come up,
Hello.
they get so like.
I don't want
It's
to
like,
talk about the trolls.
I'm
Let's leave them to rot in oblivion and
but what I'm
obscurity.
saying, well, it's a mental thing. It's like I don't know how someone gets so excited about just
Although
talking
I
to
gotta
someone.
ask, what does a troll sound like again, though, Mike? That was kind of
Yeah, do
funny.
the
I'm
troll.
not gonna lie. That was kind of funny.
I'll do it for Leggy. I'll do it for Leggy.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
somebody
you.
clip that at least for the sound effect.
Oh, I did. I did. I did.
They go
No, I'm
nuts.
just kidding. I'm kidding.
They go
Yeah, but we know
crazy.
that. We've talked about it to death.
Yeah.
I've done streams on it. I've done streams on gang stalking, cyberbullying,
All
cyber
right. Well,
harassment, mobbing, all of that. I don't want to keep
so
looping on it.
the bottom line is this, Jeff. You need to grow a beard. Jeff needs a beard. If
I
we
don't
have to
grow
cash
beards.
this beard, it's a fake one or like a
It's
Lee press on
too much
beard.
work. It's not a good use of my time.
Well, we get like the Velcro strip, and you can just put it on, and you can take it off late at night, and
That sounds even worse than having a real beard. What's
you
up,
try
Leggy?
to. What's up, man?
Oh my fucking word, Mike! What the fuck? Have you drank some? What is that? What a or whatever the hell it is. That
Ayahuasca?
fucking Ayahuasca. There we go. Have you drank some ayahuasca lately, Mike? Have you
Not at all.
seen the future? Because these are some pretty fucking wild ideas, buddy. I'm laughing my ass off. Not gonna
Not at all.
lie.
I have a
Some of
very
this
active.
shit.
I have a very hyperactive mind, like you, but no, I haven't drank anything.
Well,
Zero.
that's good. That's good.
Zero.
Would any of you fellas ever consider that? Like, if you truly went down to the rainforest, to them true medicine men that been doing it from generation, landing it, would you do it? Do the actual true, true ayahuasca
I might
experience?
have earlier in my life. I don't think I would do it now. I don't think I'd mess with any psychedelics. But there was a time, maybe 20 years ago, when I would have probably tried it.
I knew a guy, and he was Native American, and they would smoke peyote, like the peyote pipe, and they would. He said it
Yep.
makes you hallucinate. Yeah.
I've never done any psychedelics, but if I could get the time and be in the right place, it's hard to trust people. Like, I wouldn't just take a vacation and have some wait to bring me some psychedelic, whatever you want to call it. I wouldn't do that. But if I had the time and I felt like I was in a safe place when I was doing it, and I trusted people around me, somebody to be sober in case of
Trip
anything.
sitter. Yeah.
Well, yeah. That's
I
why I
would.
said,
I think.
you go right down to a tribe, like the medicine men,
Well,
do the
No, I
actual
need somebody.
true
I need somebody I
ritual.
know can
Fucking
trust. You
way
know what I'm saying?
doing it.
what they say, what they say. I've never done it, but what they say is that when you do hallucinants, it's dangerous because you don't know how you're going to react to it, and you have to be in a safe place. Like Untrackable saying, you have to feel safe.
That has a lot to do with it. It can be unpredictable.
Oh,
So
yeah,
if you're around
100%.
people you trust, feel comfortable with, if you're indoors in a setting that
Yeah.
you feel like it's predictable, that you feel adjusted to, that can all make a difference.
But if you're you're popping dabs in the middle of a parking lot in a Walmart, you might flip the hell out. I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
Oh, when I'm on LSD, I can go out in public, but on mushrooms, I cannot go out in public. I've tried to go to grocery stores on mushrooms. It was a horrible
Well, I mean,
experience.
take it. take for instance, like you have to know what you are to know
Yeah.
who you need around you, I think, because I mean, I watch, Joe Rogan, and he talks about doing it. He says it's amazing. It's, opened his mind, whatever, about the experience. But if you're Joe Rogan and you're heavy in the fight game and you're fit, and uh even as his demeanor on his podcast and stuff like that, if he were to freak out, you would have to have somebody that would be able to control that beast. You know what I'm saying?
Do, Joe,
Uncredible. You mentioned Joe Rogan, so now anything you say is obviously uncredible around here. Because I
Well,
said
now
do,
they
something
have
about Joe
they have
Rogan.
therapists here in Washington State. You can pay them. It's a couple
hmm
of $1,000s, and they come to your house and they
hmm
guide you through the trip. You can pay professional trip sitters that have
Yeah,
therapy
but
degrees.
but they still
You
say
still have to
though.
find your
I
own
don't know.
drug, though. They don't supply it.
Well,
you
that's what
gotta,
I'm saying. Like, I'd rather go down if I was going to be one of them people that spent the money anyways, because you're going to spend a good chain penny, to do it here in the States. You might as well spend that good penny and travel, see a country, and experience it, in a real setting, done the ancient ways it's been done for fucking centuries now.
yeah.
So,
Yeah,
You,
I don't want to do it in my living room. You know what I mean? I don't want to do it in a hospital. I'd want to do it. I think the way I picture it in my brain, if I was gonna try it, like in the Arizona desert. You know what I'm saying? Like on
Ooh,
a
that sounds
campsite,
nice.
have an open
just,
fire, someplace
Yeah.
where you can see the stars because there's no city
oh yeah,
lights
hundred
around,
percent,
stuff,
100%.
stuff like that.
yeah. If you're gonna trip somewhere beautiful. Don't just do it like in your back bedroom. Like trip out, like I said, outside where you're seeing like everything around you,
I've
and just
had
like,
good trips in both places. In my
yeah.
in my house, where I can control the environment, and we used to go out in the woods and do our mushrooms. We had a cabin out in the woods,
I've
and
never
that was
done
fun too.
shrooms.
Yeah.
Uncle Danny, good old Uncle Danny, though, he always talks about it and tells
Mm.
stories. My dad talks about story because my dad grew up in Baltimore, so he talks about time he was hanging out around the Chesapeake Bay Bridge and shit, and fucking he was tripping on fucking acid and all this shit. He goes, the shit I seen. He goes, hey, he goes, didn't it open my eyes to the fucking world?
It's all in your brain, though. That's the thing you have to remember. Anything you see or
Cool.
experience, you
Cool.
have to remember it's your brain producing it.
Lekey, you
Well, in
said
in that
Chesapeake Bay.
case, I guess I forgot. I said I'd never done any psychedelics. I have taken like the mushrooms. I guess they were like the stemmy ones.
Oh,
Mm.
yeah. The stems don't have
Um,
as much stuff in them.
well, I met this random dude at a bar, and we were chilling, and told him I was about to watch this hockey game, and he was like, "Well, I'm about to do a lap around this parking lot, and I'm gonna smoke this blunt, and you want to come with me?" So I went with him, and it was like what do you call it, like a Sam's Club. So
Mm.
it's a big building, and we drove around, and when he parked the car, he goes, "Hey, I got these shrooms too," and he handed me like two stems, and I was like, "Well, I've never tried that." He goes, "Well, let's see how it goes," and I tried it. It was a cool dude. And when
Yeah.
I went back into the bar, like he wasn't there much longer anyway. But the hockey game comes on, and I'm just like, I'm stoned, and maybe I was tripping a little bit, but I didn't see anything. Nothing weird happened. I felt warm, and I had the biggest smile on my face, just staring at the hockey game, just enjoying it. And I would look over at people every once in a while and be like, "Are you guys seeing this?"
It's funny. Yeah. Yeah.
I
It's
was just, I
yeah.
was just happy. I was
Yeah,
just, I was
there
just in a
probably
happy mood.
wasn't too much in it, just enough
I
to give you
wish I
that
could
body high.
find it. All right, so so Uncle Danny went fucking 2018. He went to right after his wife passed away. Right, he went to him and a bunch of his buddies. They chipped in and they got tickets to the Red Sox game. Got him off the island. He went down, fucking enjoyed it. Well, they were fucking doing the whole camera thing around the fucking arena, and there it is, fucking Danny. They zoom in, you know, and the crowd, and you can see Danny fucking leaning up against a fucking wall, right? And he fucking, you could tell he was fucked up, right? And the announcers go, "Well, that guy looks like he's had a little too much fun tonight." The fucking Danny, he was fucking, holy fuck, dude. He was, that clip. I gotta see if my wife has it, and then I'll share it with you in Discord or something. Cause it's fucking hilarious. Right on Nesson. So great times, great times.
Something just came across my feed. Hang on, I need to do some research before I put out misinformation.
Mike, I gotta ask. Like, I'm not trying
Hmm.
to like pry, but is that is that an old fucking tape player, or is that a fucking the old fucking school reel for the video behind you?
That's an
Is that
old AK real player. Yep. It's
now? Does that have the
Cassette tape, like
record?
music tape.
yeah, music for music.
Oh wow.
But it records too, also, right?
It does. It
Is it
does
one of
both.
them?
It's an AK. Yeah, it's actually they're really really collectible.
What's the vintage on that? Like, what year is that?
Probably I would say 70s. 70s.
All right, all right.
Yep.
Now, is that something you've had since the 70s?
Yeah, I had it for a long. Oh, it was my dad's.
Okay,
Yep.
okay, right on. I can understand that. Look, I got
Yeah.
this ceramic cat figurine, right? It's fucking
Mhm.
big, like fucking. It looks like a real cat, right? My grandparents had it for fucking years and years and years. It's the only
Mhm.
thing. Well, I got three things that was my grandmother's. I got a blanket, this Christmas boot, and this fucking and the cat, right? And
Yeah.
I keep that cat fucking absolutely. I tell anybody, I go, I swear to God, that's the one thing I probably will lose my shit on if it gets broke. Because
Yeah. Yeah.
I only value three things in my life, and it's
Hmm.
like, you know, like, as far as valuable things, like,
Sure.
and it's them three things. Like, as far as material possessions, it's them.
Yeah. It's like a memory piece. It's like you
Okay.
remember them from this piece. And that's good. It's good to remember. Do you
Now, Mike,
guys?
I'm not gonna lie. Part of me, part of me in my brain thought you were gonna go to your old trolling ways and say that was like a piece of equipment you had from back in your Leo days. So I so thank you for a true God honest. I believe
Yeah.
that 100% because that was like right off the top of the tongue. No fucking well, you see, like,
Yeah.
so just to let you know, I believe you 100%.
I appreciate that. And when and the whole thing. Sorry, Jeff. I know you're trying to jump. When I come to this channel, I don't troll. I'm just chilling, having fun. But no, but I go to other panels and I do troll a little bit, and I probably shouldn't, but I get caught up in the trolling waves.
Yeah, well, I can't control people doing other panels. There's a lot of people here that indulge in that vice.
But when I
As long
come
as they don't do it here and keep it off of this channel.
when I come to Jeff's, I'm just myself. That's it, good or bad, take it or leave it. But I'm just me. That's all it is. So Leggy, I appreciate that, man. I do. I appreciate
Yeah, yeah. I'm just saying, like that, that's like the most realist
that.
thing I can honestly say. I think I've ever heard you say, like 100%. Like I'm
It's
not
all
gonna
good.
lie, like
Leggy,
that was like the most
are
natural.
you
Like
on something right now too?
no, like I'm
No,
Okay.
just talking. Like I just Jeff,
yeah.
come on, buddy. Like
So
if it ain't green, I don't fuck with it. So
the problem is if I'm like this is actually the real me talking. If I'm like this all the time, it's boring. People are like, oh, he's boring. So I have to kind of spice up a little bit. But when I come to Jeff's, it's just about conversation and having a good time talking to
well, I'd rather
friends.
have a real conversation than a bullshit. I mean, I like the bullshit too, but like bullshit about
You like the
like
bullshit?
women and shit like that. There, you know what I mean? Like.
I was getting ping ponged earlier, dude, on another panel. Oh my god, it
What
was
does
just
ping
rough.
pong mean?
Well,
Ping
bounce
pong
back and
basically
forth like a
means
ball.
there's like three people attacking you at once, so you're trying to
Oh.
throw it back at them, and it's just like it after a while, it gets aggravating.
Did you
And I
drop
did.
off the panel eventually?
At one point, I said, this is kind of like, in other words, if people are attacking me, right? They're yelling over me. I'm trying. So Jeff, you asked me a question, right? So let's just say hypothetically, you asked me a question, and I'm trying to address your question, and 3 other people are yelling over top of you. There's no reason to be there because I can't even answer the question that you're asking me. So at one point, it's just like, all right, this is just kind of like, all right,
Uh,
you know.
I wish Joe was still up here because I was kind of hoping he
Yeah.
was because I was kind of wanted to ask him on his take of the Mexico president and the Canadian Prime Minister
Oh,
biting back
Right.
the tariff thing.
on yeah, and how
He
like
his coffee shop's closing. He might come back when he gets to his house.
Yes.
Is this
Yes.
the Crowfoot that said they're never coming back? Welcome.
Yes.
He's
That
saying you talk
person.
shit about me on other
I
channels.
don't. I don't. That's the person that
oh
was over at the other channel talking crap in the chat as well, talking about my kids and stuff. That's the
Well,
same
I have
person.
here. Let me post those
oh.
community
Yeah.
guidelines.
Yeah.
That's
That's
the
the
only
same
rule I
Anyway,
person.
really have.
the tariff thing, right? So,
Yeah.
long story short is they're saying that if he does do it, it's gonna come back and bite us. And this is coming from like the CEOs and like fucking
Mhm. Yeah.
some of these big corporations like the Best Buy CEO. He's on record at their meeting here that says if there is that and the inflation goes up, we're not going to eat the cost. We're just going to said the consumers are going to wind up eating the cost. You know what I mean? So therefore, things are going to go up. So
Yeah.
one
Yeah,
of the
that is a
biggest
good
things,
question to ask him. Now that you bring it
but
up, I'll try to remember next time he's on.
one of the biggest things though that we have to try to keep down to try to keep everything else down is the price of fuel because ultimately the price of fuel is going to play a big role in the price of everything else because if it costs more to ship it, it's going to cost more on the back end, you know. So
Hmm.
I thought they were gonna frack and drill, baby, drill.
I think.
well,
I think Trump's going to open up a lot of those reserves. And really kind of drive the cost of fuel down. I think he's going to do it because when he was in office last time, fuel was really affordable. It was like what 220 or something like that, 218. Now
but
it's what
remember though,
290. Yeah.
according to the Biden administration, that's because it was a Democratic president before a Republican president.
Mm, I don't know.
Well, if J.D.
Lately,
Vance wants a shot in 4 years, it's in his best interest to have. He doesn't want to be in Kamala's position where she got blamed for the bad economy. So it's in his
she
best interest to do right by the people over the next 4 years.
Kamala is done. She'll never be president ever or vice president. And I think Trump's going to do these 4 years. And just my opinion, allegedly, I think Vance is going to step in. Trump is going to push him. And something crazy? If Trump wanted to, he can be Vance's VP. Did you know that?
Yeah, he
No,
probably
I
could.
don't think that's how that works.
I
I don't
think
think
you can
I
be.
I mean, yes, technically
Yeah.
you can go, but I don't think he can be VP. I don't think though, Mike, because in the instance that the sitting president would pass away, he couldn't become president. Only 2 years. He would have a max of two
Hmm.
years, but
Well, I'm
usually that's
looking it up
only
now.
implied the other way because
No, I
you
think.
can do a max of 10 years,
Yeah.
but usually that's in the instance like with Johnson, Lyndon B. Johnson with Kennedy, where he became president midway through Kennedy's term. You know what I mean? He was eligible to run for two more terms afterwards because I do believe you're allowed
It's one of
10.
those untested things.
It is
Someone would have to
untested.
try it for us to determine whether they can or not.
Oh, you're talking about
Who
as far as a president to be vice president.
who was the longest
They
serving
can be
president?
elected twice, but if they get it through the VP, that's not necessarily being elected. It's one
I
of
would
those things
love.
that would have to be tested, just like the presidential immunity,
But I do know
I
like
you can
would.
self
only
pardon.
be president for 10 years max.
It's
So.
it's academic theorizing until somebody actually tries to pull it off, and then it will be determined whether like
But
how it
wasn't
actually stands.
wasn't Eisenhower
But it's
president?
not settled
Yeah,
law
he's
yet.
the
There's
one that
nothing
changed
that
it.
prohibits
Yeah.
it currently,
He,
It's
definitively.
like
it's one of those what ifs that was written in because they knew a president at some time was going to get shot in the face. You know what I'm saying?
But
Yeah.
untrackable, a president can stay in office if we're in a state of war, right? The president doesn't leave office. There's no
No,
election.
well, I think there has to be certain things like pretty
Yeah,
much if you declare like what is it? What
like
was it?
World War.
Obama. A lot of people say he was going to declare martial law. There we go. That's what.
Yeah.
That's what I think it has to be. Martial law. I think that's the
Mhm.
only way he cannot. You wouldn't, or in a time of war, like necessarily. I don't know how that
Yeah,
works in a time of war, Mike.
it's
Because I
definitely been proven to not be a guarantee that if we're at war that the president doesn't change hands because we just went through 20 years of war and there's been an election every 4 years.
You're right. You're right. But I think it's more like like he was saying, like martial law or like a world war where there's like NATO's involved. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but I know that we had a president. I think it was Eisenhower, right? He went like 3 terms, right? He went like 3 terms, not
well,
two
it's
terms.
because of the
Yeah.
war.
Was that Eisenhower or Roosevelt?
Was it Roosevelt? I can't remember which one it was. I mean,
Oh, here's
it's
Joe.
just
We can find out about the.
It was
Okay.
FDR. FDR had 3 terms, and he got elected to a 4th, but he died just a few months into it. Eisenhower
Roosevelt.
had 2 terms. Yeah.
Roosevelt. Because Joe, we were in World War, right? We were actually at war, and then he just kept just going and going and going.
Oh, so he got elected to his 3rd term in 1940, right before we got into the war.
Yeah. So how did
I
he pull
don't
that
think it
off?
had to do with war. I think it was that maybe that magic clause of the limit probably wasn't written yet.
Yeah, the
No, he's after
Constitution was
him. That's when
amended
it was.
after him.
They
Yeah.
do have wartime powers in the time of crisis, but only Congress can change a presidential election date.
Now,
It
Joe.
is what.
Joe, can you hear me, Joe?
Hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on Trump making that threat about the tariffs and then the Prime Minister of Canada and the President of Mexico responding with that'll be bad because we'll levy them against the U.S. and then the tech companies and shit like that they're saying on the back end that that us Americans are going to wind up eating the cost.
Mm,
I
I
mean,
say the way to kind of off balance that is try to keep the price of fuel down.
mm,
um, generally speaking, tariffs increase operating costs for whatever the businesses involved are. So, in some ways, people are going to feel it. Generally speaking, there may be a handful of exceptions where um, tariffs are beneficial in some way for the U.S., just depending on um,
Can you
like
think of an example where they are beneficial?
um, I could see it as like if enough jobs are created in or protected in the U.S., created or protected, both could happen from tariffs by deterring, the import of a foreign equivalent of an American product. That it restores enough purchasing power to enough Americans that it helps the economy in that sense. One of the long-term downsides of NAFTA and similar free trade agreements has been that it took a lot of jobs from the U.S. and put them in other countries. It did not replace them with a lot of other jobs. The GDP of the U.S. grew. Consumers did benefit from lower prices in many ways, but most of the economic gains went to the top. And really, for it to make sense, there would have needed to be some kind of taxation mechanism to redistribute it to Americans generally, so that everyone's getting a piece of the wealth created by the free trade agreements rather than people at the top. And historically, that is not what happened. And so, if tariffs, and then of course you have instances where if the lower and then eventually middle class becomes constrained enough, you can have recessionary moments where their ability to spend and keep an economy going just gets too weak. And so there's potential where if you hurt the consumer too much through a free trade, then that's not actually good for an economy, even though
Well,
you
why
have
did they?
lower total costs.
Wasn't that under Clinton? Why didn't they pass it the way you just described?
Good question. I don't know. I didn't ask them.
Does it make sense though that if these tariffs are imposed and naturally the way business works, it trickles down to the consumer.
Yeah.
But if they could, you know, if they're magically, just gonna do the tariffs and maybe they could snap their fingers and eliminate the federal income tax. It would kind of be same, but it would still kind of be forcing that country to be better, as far as, how they, interact with us financially. You know what I mean?
Are you talking about? I'm not really sure how the federal income tax plays into this, like with the free trade stuff.
Because if we're getting charged for earning and being charged for spending, if you
Oh.
raise the cost of spending but you reduce the cost of earning, which I think to anybody sounds ridiculous, it kind of becomes same. So the price on the shelf looks higher, but if you reduce the charge on earning, then you have more, and it kind of becomes same. But the interaction with that other country is going to force them to, they're going to be paying more to do with us, and maybe that could raise their country up and more. And maybe
I think it would
I'm
really.
saying it.
I would suspect that if the federal income tax were to go away, I mean, most of that would be felt by wealthy people rather than people in the lower half of the earning potential of the country. I mean, if you only make so much money, you basically have no federal income tax. Whether it's because you're not taxed at all or because you can still then cancel out some of your tax obligation with certain tax credits if you check some other boxes as well. So most of the people that would benefit from the elimination of a federal income tax would be people who are already pretty high earners. So it really just comes down to whether or not you think them having that tax obligation lifted would find its way into helping the economy, and then if the tax revenues raised by the tariffs, assuming that the tariffs are the things that are being tariffed are actually being bought, and therefore they become a revenue source. If those sort of make sure that the federal budget isn't significantly affected in that way, it's a lot of
I understand what you mean
yeah.
about it. I understand what you mean about it affecting the higher dollars more
Mhm.
than the lesser dollars, but it's a percentage. So if I have a dollar and you take a
Mhm.
quarter away, I have 75 cents,
Mhm.
but the gallon of milk is a dollar. You know what I'm saying? If you
Mhm.
have $1 billion and I take 25% away, you have no problem getting milk. That becomes the issue right there.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah. Exactly. I get what you're saying. I get
Yeah.
what you're
So
saying.
I mean,
I don't care if your $1 billion turns into $100 million because there's no income tax, but maybe I could have $1.50. You know what I'm saying?
Can you
Mhm.
imagine? Can you imagine waking up and looking at your bank statement and it says $100 million in your account? just, just imagine that. Just imagine, like, and all you do is that you go, yes. You know what I'm saying?
Mike,
Oh my god.
I wake up fucking wishing I fucking just had $1 million in my fucking bank account, let alone
But
fucking a
Leggy,
100 million.
imagine having 100 million in your account, dude. You'd be like jumping back, fucking untrackable to have his
I'd
beard
still work
coated.
though. I'd still
Hey,
Untrackable has
I just got done doing a handful of favors for $1. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Untrackable would shave his beard, get a big old freaking Jesus piece, and just be like, "What's up, yo?" Nah, I'm just messing around, but no,
I mean,
you
I
know.
do work for my money. I'm not gonna
But
lie to anybody like that.
people do say when people that never had money their whole life and they win the lottery, they go crazy. They lose it all. They waste it all because it's what's, and Joe knows this. It's called money management.
Well,
You
it's
know,
like
they,
these
they
people that buy. I think I brought this up before about people that because I was
yeah,
watching the show. It's like millionaire,
yeah,
lotto,
sure,
lotto house hunters or something
yeah.
like
That
that.
happens in Vegas too when people
And I'm
win a lot
like,
of the casinos.
and I'm
Don't
thinking,
Yeah.
even
okay,
don't get the. I
so
would
you
say
guys
don't even
want
look
two
at the
point five
look at
fucking $1 million. You're trying to
please.
buy $1 million house. Who the fuck's gonna pay the taxes on it in the next few years? Like, you know what
I
I
would
mean?
say don't even look at the lotto winners. I would say there are plenty of documentaries about the athletes that get contracts that are worth so much. So, like, okay, we're going to give you $1 million up front. So you got $1 million in cash, but your contract is worth 20 million over the next 5 years. They take
Oh yeah.
loans out against that contract, and then sometimes because of the loans that they took out, thinking that it was going to keep going, like a career, but they don't keep that job. They don't maintain that contract, and their loans exceed what they took out because they thought they were going to get another bigger, like $100 million contract. And next thing you know, you have like it's a wonder why they did. Forget
Yeah.
college and teaching things in public school. It's a wonder why
What's
the
that
agents
fucking I mean,
and
look at
the
that football
and
player
the teams
there.
didn't start
But
teaching their players about what money management earlier,
Yeah.
because they sit
well,
there and set these dudes up. Hey, you're straight from the hood to the field. You're straight from the field to the pros, and hey, here's a big ass
Why is it their
commitment.
responsibility to teach them that? Can't they learn that on their own?
They
Yeah.
can, but you're taking people that, I mean, if you're the fastest man in the world, do I have to, should I expect you to be a finance specialist or
No,
a
but I
doctor?
also don't think it's my job to teach you money either.
Mm.
well,
I
the
could run
same
pretty
sense
quick when
is
I was a kid.
I
I'll tell
mean,
you
I
this.
I
I
do
think
feel
it's
like high school. They like at least for me when I was going through high school, they tell you, we're preparing you for the real world, we're preparing you for college and shit like that. Well, then I got out
I'm
into
not
the real world and
I'm
got to college
not
and into the Air Force.
I'm saying make it a mandatory education seminar and then do it. But these are
Mm.
things, the amounts of money that
Just teach it in high school.
nobody gets to see except
That's what I'm
for the
saying. High
best.
school. Yeah.
So
But
Untrackable, I
I
think
don't
you're
think they're
approaching a
taking
very
them out of anywhere. They're presenting an opportunity, and these people are taking the opportunity. That's not them taking someone out of the ghetto or whatever.
Well, I do
And it's
know
their
since they do,
responsibility to learn how to manage their money.
so
but I
I think
do know that.
Untrackable is bringing up like an interesting point here, which is like in elections, right? Like a big part of why some people want to see Trump do tariffs, or maybe why some people don't, is they're thinking about what puts more money in the hands of ordinary Americans. But as Untrackable is sort of indicating here, even if you put more money in the hands of ordinary Americans, they may not do smart things with it. In fact, they may do even more stupid things with it. And so it's really hard to say what is a good economic policy. What tax code should we have? More of a federal income tax? Should we work on just raising it for wealthier people? Should we get rid of it and switch to tariffs and a national sales tax or a flat tax? What should we have? Various forms of federal taxes just
Yes,
sprinkled into all sorts of things in society.
I
But the
don't
reality
think
is,
I don't think policy can fix stupid. I think
right?
education is the key. But like you said, when you get a stimulus check and you don't pay that credit card off and you go buy a new big
Oh
TV and
no,
you
it's
still
not.
got a credit card,
Um,
There is no policy that's going to fix
The
stupid.
Yeah.
TV I'm playing Call of Duty on right now,
Yeah.
I think my parents got in 2007. I don't buy new TVs. I just use the old one.
Until it
I'm
goes
tracking.
out.
I'm tracking.
Yeah,
Well, I
until it
just
goes
read
out.
your name because I was going to say when the stimulus checks came out, they sold more TV. Walmart sold more TVs they did in like 10 years. Flat
Look at
Looks
screens.
like I seen this
Yeah.
meme, and it was like, "Dear Black Friday, we all have big TVs now. Please give us deal on food." I just like, yeah, that's true. Everybody does have big TVs now. Like, I
So
don't know
check this
anybody
out.
that has a TV smaller than like 42 inches,
I'm in.
and
I'm
that's
in.
in the
I'm in a.
bedroom.
I have a 47. I have two 32s and a 47 in the room. But like it's not a big deal. It's not a But I mean, it is what it is. But it's just like I remember, when the stimulus checks came out, I remember seeing people that looked raggedy, and they're in Harris Teeter, which is a food market. It's like a
I know
Food
what
Lion
Harris
or whatever.
Teeter is. My mother worked at
Yeah,
one back in the day.
yeah, and it's high end, so it has like really nice high end food, and they had the 2-pound
Harris
boxes,
Teeter,
crab legs, the frozen boxes of crab
fucking
legs.
Harris Teeter. I remember that.
Yeah,
Hey,
and they're buying like
so
5 and 6 boxes. I'm like,
it wasn't a
yeah,
stimulus check, but was a
yeah,
like a settlement check for, I guess, um incorrect accounting from a previous job. I didn't sue anybody, but I got a piece of the settlement, and it was like
good.
$800.
Mhm.
And the first thing I did was I showed my wife. I was like, "Hey, my last job just gave me like $800, and I don't know why."
Yeah,
And her face, and we do okay. Um, but her face lit up, and she goes, "That's perfect because now we can get that, the big TV that we want." And at the
yeah.
time, we just had her old college TV and my flat screen 26-inch TV,
Hmm.
and we wanted the big one.
Yeah,
And it still cost us like another $300 to get that TV. But that was the first thing her brain went to. Was it
yeah.
wasn't, make sure that the rent is paid, or get ahead or anything like that. It was like, oh, now we can get, and like I said, we do okay. But her brain went straight to that check's going to the TV.
Well,
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah,
We
who
my
wants
just
to
wife,
pay
she was
use
in
it for rent?
Walmart. She sent me a picture. It was this 90-inch fucking TV, right? Roku TV. And it was under $1,000. And I was like, I was fucking with it. I go, that's my next TV. Because I
Yeah,
just bought a 55 like a couple years ago. And she
yeah.
fucking bitched when I did that. You don't need a TV that big. She's like, what's wrong with ours? I want a bigger TV. I got bad eyes, dear. I'm getting old. She goes, you're only 32. So,
My boy, my friend John, he has the curve. You ever see the curved TVs where they're curved in? They look like it's like
oh yeah, them are cool. Them
yeah,
4K
yeah,
Ultra
yeah,
HD curved TVs. Yeah,
Curved
yeah.
TVs. Let's see. Ooh,
it's
gross.
cool.
They're so ugly. Who would want that?
Well,
There's
is
also
some
that
look better than others.
That would
there's
throw me
also
off. Why do you need your screen curved?
is that
Because
the
if you have
OLED?
I think it'd be
no,
more bet.
no,
I think it'd be better for video games. It'd
yeah,
be
yeah.
and you could
honestly.
you could you could see it at different angles, like different angles. It
Look at
looks the
this.
same. Yeah,
I
it's a
could not
curved
watch a
TV.
movie. This would bug me the whole time I was trying
See,
to. I feel like the
the
TV was
pictures aren't
bent.
doing it justice, really though, because
It's cool. No,
they.
I've been to his house. It's a really cool TV, man. It's super clear. It's crisp, and
Hey,
you can be like,
James.
you could be off to the side and look over, and it looks like it's popping out at you because it's like 4D.
It's
It's
not worth the glare is not that bad in the right room with the right lighting. It's just not
it's
worth
trippy.
the
Yeah,
bendy
I want to go
effect.
back to like the TV thing because like that's just one thing that people spend money
Mm.
on a lot. Like people who say, "Oh, I'm so poor. I come from, a background of very little means." People say stuff like that, and they buy new TVs.
Mm.
And it's just unless you're really living a Spartan lifestyle, already, like, um, it's just poverty in
Well,
2024 is not poverty in
Mhm.
1924. right?
Right,
It's a
Yeah.
Joe.
very different thing.
And saw this with a lot with college rebates or stimulus checks or whatever.
Mhm.
You get this money, and I've seen it used on down payments for something that somebody's not making enough to really make the payments and live, because they'll give you credit for every dollar that you make, but they're not the, like Jeff said, am I your babysitter? They're not the ones accounting for
Yeah.
can you put food in your mouth? You know what I'm
Mm.
saying?
Mhm.
If you take that $1,000, that $2,000, whatever, and go put it a down payment on a Dodge Charger, and the payment is now $450 a month. Yeah, you made the down payment and you make enough money to pay it, but now you don't eat. You may not even be able to afford gas, but you'll be making payments on that Dodge Charger, or you won't be making payments on that Dodge Charger.
Yep.
Mhm.
Well, if they can't eat, that means they can't afford the car.
Yeah, but people don't
Right.
think like that.
The
Trust me, I
lenders,
used to work at the
That's
auction.
they
You'd be
don't.
surprised what people try to fucking buy and get repoed.
But I don't
I
think
sold
people should necessarily think like that either.
I sold cars for 6 years for Toyota, dude. You'd be surprised. People will come in and they'll have a couple grand to put down, and their car payment's like $700, and they're like, "Oh yeah, no problem." And then the fucking car gets repoed 3 months
It's all
later.
finance. It's all
Yeah,
finance.
Dude, I worked at the auction. There
All
was the
interest.
same lady. The same
yeah.
lady, by the way, she was fine as hell. But dude, the whole fucking 3 years I worked at the auction, the whole time I was there, I'd say every 4 months her car was there again. It was repossessed, and they brought it to because we had the holding lot behind the auction, and
Now we didn't. So I work for I work for a professional dealership, new and used cars, like eight stores. Like I work for a really reputable dealership. But there are the dealerships that we call the dirt lots, where they only sell used cars. That's
Yeah,
all they
used
sell are
car
used cars.
lots. Used car lots.
Oh,
And
hey, Tommy, what's up?
and what's up, Tommy?
Yeah,
And they'll give in-house financing. So what they do is they put the Tommy, the way the car shuts off if they don't pay, the
yeah,
trackers and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah. So they'll disable the car and they'll come and just tow it. They can just disable it. You'd be on the highway and the shit will just shut off. I'm not joking.
That
Yeah,
sounds
that's tough
dangerous.
for people. These people buy used cars, right?
Yeah.
And they have to, they have that tracker on it, and a lot of these cars aren't even in great shape. Like it's
They're
what people
garbage.
can afford. Like you'll buy
Not
a used BMW and then realize when it breaks, you can't afford the parts to fix it. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
not only do
So-
people buy cars they can't afford, they drive their cars in
Mhm.
ways so that it will wear out sooner and they'll have to get a new one.
They
People will
yeah,
pass
love
dude.
you.
Like,
it.
People
it's
will speed
crazy.
up past you to get in front of you when they see a red light there, and then they have to brake, and they do that. They drive like that every day, and that destroys your car. If you drive like that every day, you are taking years off your car.
Me,
It's
me and
like
Tommy talked. Me
Yeah.
and Tommy talked about. I love my. I've had three F-150s, three of them, over the years, and then I got a G35. I have an Infinity, and that is my favorite. That thing drives like a dream. I love it. I love that car. But you're right. Once it breaks, the parts are 5 times more than the car's worth.
yeah,
If you
they are.
so it's insane. So you end up just junking it. You just end up junking it and looking for something else. But now if you try to find a used car, they're 3 times the price they were a couple years ago. I remember.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I gotta say, every single car that I've owned, I did look at it until something happened, like a crash or something. That was my forever car. I wanted that forever. I didn't look at it like, oh, I'm gonna have this for a few years and get something else, or I can't afford to fix it. You make that educated decision when you get something.
Yeah.
And when I made that decision, I was like, I'm never going to buy another car again unless, you get rear-ended by a Mack truck. You know what I'm
Or
saying?
take a deer out or something stupid like
If you
that.
take good care of a car, they'll last forever. Any
Well,
car.
yeah,
pretty
that's
much,
why,
you know?
Tommy, that's why the Sequoia, it's a 2011 Sequoia.
Mhm.
But, like, fuck, man. Like, I called my father-in-law because he just bought his wife one. And he was like, yeah, he goes, I told him how much it was, and he goes, he told me what to look for, so I looked at it, and he goes, well, can you get it for a test drive for like like a 2-day test drive? I go, yeah, I probably could. He goes, well, if you can, bring it up, and we'll put it on the lift, and I'll go over it. So I
Yeah.
took it up to his garage, and we went all over it. He goes, buy it. He goes, hands down, buy it. It's been undercoated.
Mhm.
It's been like it's
Yeah.
been taken care of. The service record's there because like he has access to like that system himself in his garage, so like he can see like every place it's been serviced. So like it's been taken care of. So he said, buy it. One
It
owner.
was it was I think it was 2005 or 2006. It was one of those years. I think it might have been 2006. And a guy came in. He was an older Filipino guy, and he came in for service. He goes, you know what? I just give me an offer for my car, right? Dude, it was a twin turbo Supra.
Oh.
And he said, yeah, I'm looking for about 20 grand. That car's worth like $60,000 now. Like and I remember, like, I'm such an idiot for not buying that car. That car, because he didn't know what his car was worth, and it was like mint. It was a mint Supra, and was
Yeah,
low
they're
mileage.
nice.
Well,
Yeah.
listen to this. My dad had a 77 Chevy Scottsdale. It had a 427 in it, right?
Mhm.
And there was a guy,
Oh
dad put it up,
wow.
dad put it up for sale.
427.
And some guy come looking at it and he goes, I tell you what, he goes, I'll buy the truck. He goes, but I just want the motor. He goes, I'm gonna put. He goes, I drag race and all that. And he goes, that'd be a good motor to build up because it only had fucking like 60,000 miles on that motor.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the guy was like, it'd be a good block to build on. So he bought the motor and fucking gave dad back the fucking body, and dad turned around and sold the body and still fucking made double. But that body now, that square body, it's still probably 10 grand,
Yeah.
you know?
I remember.
Fuck, my buddy just bought one. He paid 15 grand from it. He went to Connecticut and got it.
I
And
remember.
the door, he still has to put the interior together. 15 grand. And the interior's not even together. I'm like, what the fuck?
I remember my the girl I was dating. I think I was like 19, and her dad gifted her a '66 Mustang, and she didn't want it because it was a stick shift. She, dude, that car is like
Oh,
iconic,
dude. She didn't want it. What did she
iconic.
do with it? What did she do with it?
He ended
Sell
up
it, I guess.
he ended up selling it, and
Oh,
she
okay.
went and she bought a Geo Tracker. Remember the
Oh,
Geo?
dude.
Yeah, yeah. Didn't they do one of them on Pit My
Oh,
Ride once? A
dude.
Geo Tracker?
Geo
I'm pretty sure they
Tracker.
did.
She bought a
And they put
Geo
like a fucking
Tracker.
one of them jackhammer, fucking,
That
them
sucks.
jackhammer subs
Hang
in the
on, real
back.
quick. We have somebody in the back named Incelibate. Does anybody know them? And flash your cam so I'll know you're a real person.
I don't know that person.
I've
If you have
never
a
heard of that
channel,
person.
drop it too so I can see who you are.
Never heard of that name before,
Yeah,
so.
Have it either. There's no avatar. There's no channel information.
Yeah,
Nothing.
that's
Tommy,
probably a
that
form bomber. I just boot him.
Tommy,
Maybe I don't
that
want a
tracker
chance.
was fire, dude. It had the soft top. You take the soft top off, it's convertible. Dude, that tracker was fire, dude.
Tracker. Oh, God.
Dude, fucking,
So I'm telling
Denver
you,
makes
dude,
pretty good wood buggies. Though,
Some
them.
people
the,
like trackers. They do,
the,
That was a
the
popular car.
summer, the summer of '95, dude, cruising the strip in the summer of '95, man, with
Or
the Geo Tracker, man.
sidekicks. Like sidekicks are
Oh,
kind of like
it
that,
was
too.
awesome, dude. It was green. It was ugly as shit.
Pew green. Oh, damn. That sucks. Geo
Oh
Tracker.
my
Yeah.
god. And the girl before that I dated, she had a white convertible cabriolet, the Volkswagen. Remember the convertible cabriolet? It was
Yeah.
white with
Yeah.
the white top. Yeah, it's like the precursor to the Rabbit. That was a cool car, man. That was pretty
Yeah,
cool. The
they're cool.
cabriolet. Yeah, it
They're
was
cool.
pretty neat.
But some
Yeah, man.
Volkswagens are cool. I like GTIs. I like GTIs.
My
Yeah,
Yeah,
my
it's
yeah.
brother.
actually a
So
pretty cool
Oh,
little Dodge. It's
dude.
70. It was a 72 Dodge, right? Short. It was like a short bed, step side Dodge, right? And
Yeah.
he updated it on a 2007 frame, maybe of a GMC, a short bed GMC. and then he took a 383 stroker and put it in it with Dana 44s in the back and the front. Dude, this fucking truck's a beast. Fucking beautiful, beautiful piece of machine that he built. Like, I gotta take a picture next time I see it and post it because it's fucking
Hey, my brother
absolutely beautiful.
had
Good.
one of those cabriolets, Mike,
The cabriolet.
and
The cabriolet.
yeah, it wasn't it wasn't a GTI or anything like that, but it was that, you know, I don't know if it was late 80s or early 90s. It was a cabriolet. That's what it said on the back.
It was
But
convertible.
the thing with his was, and everybody in our family loved this car except for the shifter. It was it's almost like there was no guard to keep it in gear. So when you would shift gears, you would have to hold it there. You could not let go of the shifter, otherwise it would skip to another gear or just go straight into neutral in the middle of you driving. So some of the like the guards that keep it in gear, whatever it was,
Synchronizers.
whatever it was a nightmare to drive because you had to hold it in gear.
I have a buddy. He had one of them fucking little MIGs there, them little midget cars. You know what I'm talking about, Tommy? The MIGs,
Yeah.
right? And fucking he can start, and it's old, but fucking he can start it and don't even have to press the clutch in it. It'll fucking start right up in fucking gear. I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? Oh, or roll over. I should say roll over. I don't think it'll start, but it'll roll over. I'm just like, that's fucking dangerous.
I
Like, oh
loved.
my god.
I loved my son's Miata. I bought my son a Miata,
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
the
he would
Miata.
use, and
This is
it was
small.
stick shift Miata with the
How
the
do you
peekaboo
drive
light.
that, Mike? Isn't he big? That must have been hard for him to drive.
Yeah, he had to squeeze in, but he would
They're small, really small.
he would have to he would drift in it. He'd go to the drifting up we go to Richmond Raceway. He'd drift in it. It was a drifting car, and that was I just loved that little car. And I would get in the other side with him, and he'd drive me somewhere, and I'm like terrified. My son's a maniac when he drives. I'm just like, oh, because I mean I'm a really chill, safe driver. He's like, like fucking hitting the gears and shit. I'm like, son, slow the fuck down. Like, but yeah, he's.
That's how my
Okay,
dad
real
was when I
quick, we
came
have
to the
another
doctor's
potential
appointment
troll in
with
the back, Ben Fuentes. Anybody know Ben?
Never heard of him.
All right, same rule.
Yeah.
Drop your channel, cam up. Otherwise, you don't get to come up.
Hey,
and
Tommy,
James, I see you in the back. Can you flash your cam so I'll know it's you?
Tommy, that
All right,
kid can
cool.
drive.
I'll bring you on.
He can drive, bro. He can
I
drive.
bet he can. I bet he can.
Yeah, it's wild.
The Miata was probably souped up for drifting, so like.
It was.
You know.
It was. We had, so to drift, you have to put the different shocks on it, and you have to put the roll bar. You have to have the roll bar on top, just in case you flip over.
I'm sorry, but I'm imaging this in my head with a big fella in it, and it just,
It's
I'm
funny.
just laughing.
It was so funny. This
With a
6'1",
Miata, that's probably funny as hell.
230 kids squeezing into a Miata. It's fucking hilarious.
Dude, when I got
I'll be
with my
right back,
wife,
guys.
I had a fucking,
Hey,
I had
James,
a
welcome.
92 S10, right? And fucking,
We're doing car talk.
she's like, you just look so funny in it. Cause she's like, you're so fucking tall. She goes, your head's fucking touching the ceiling and the fucking thing. And she goes, you don't really see past you in it. She goes, and it's a fucking death trap. Cause it like, just, you know, cause there ain't much to it. Them fucking 92 S10s. But it had like that 4.3 V6 in it. So, weight to motor ratio, it was pretty pretty quick, really. For a fucking V6.
This conversation kind of indicates why people take those auto loans that they can't afford. I think.
What?
You know, my dad, he taught me how to drive on a Miata. Taught me how to drive a stick shift on a Miata over, the course of the day. and it was the best fun because we were playing Gran Turismo, the video game at the time. So it was
Yeah.
like, hey, this is a sports car. I get to learn how to drive stick on a sports car, and it's my dad's sports car. And it was such a great time.
They're
But
fun,
that
man. They're
car,
fun to whip around.
but
I
that
taught.
car, he lived in DC or Fairfax, on that side.
Oh, Fairfax.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fairfax.
And he was visiting us down here in North Carolina for Christmas. And on his way back home, again, this car has no weight. You're talking about frozen, possibly snowy roads. He started to do like a flat spin, and he got creamed by a like not a mobile home, but what do you call them? An RV. He got creamed by an RV, and it almost ended his life. They had to cut the car apart to get him out. He broke damn near
Wow.
everything.
See, that's
And the
why I
man's
like
Lucky to
the
be
small
alive,
cars.
dude.
he's still alive today, but now he drives SUVs.
Yeah, I bet he
Yeah.
does.
I
Joe,
taught. You know,
what-
I taught.
Remember?
Hang on, I want to hear from Joe. He has a deeper layer to take this.
So let's just think about like how we got on cars, right? We got on cars because someone brought up the auto loans. We were talking about the auto loans because we were talking about spending. Because Untrackable asked me about Trump and the tariffs. We were talking about how people are bad with their money. But notice how the money side of it quickly went out, and people just started talking about how much they fucking love cars. This is why people get auto loans and buy all the shit they don't need. They get too excited by it. A car is a cultural symbol. People think I need to have a car because then I'll be cool. I'll look
Maybe
like a
not even
responsible
cultural.
parent.
It's like I think it's just a cognitive symbol too. Like men are into car. It gives them
Yeah.
some mental pleasure or satisfaction to think about and talk about car independently of social status.
But
Yeah,
this
so
is why a lot of the
we're
spending
mechanical,
happens
bro. We're
that
mechanical.
that we were talking about is just like this is what informs people's minds, and then we think, well, why do people take loans that they should know they can't afford? Well, mine's not going there. Their mind's going where this conversation went.
Yeah, the same reason they buy video games and anything else they're into.
Uh-huh.
And the
Joe.
same reason why policy will never fix stupid. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
No, not a
If you
car
want-
guy.
if
Joe-
you're in America and you're an American, you are all about your freedom. Hey, do whatever you want, but don't try to change the policy when you go broke doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Welcome, Rick.
Hey,
Do you have any thoughts on cars from a non-male perspective?
I don't know about a non-male perspective, but I have lots of thoughts of cars.
Oh.
I was gonna
Um,
say, talking about the Miata reg or whatever is like, that was an example of the law of lug nuts. That's an important thing to understand when you're driving. Not everybody seems to understand the law of lug nuts.
Definitely not me.
He who has the most lug nuts wins. When in doubt, when you're like at an intersection or, you're in any time where there's two vehicles.
Oh, your mic is doing its thing again where it fades
Oh,
out.
is it?
Yeah.
Stupid, Mike. And I have it on auto leveling. Maybe that's the problem.
Here, let me check your settings. Maybe I don't know.
Joe has a
Try
sweet
that.
Huffy.
Is
Joe
that
rides a
better or
Huffy.
worse? Better or worse?
It's okay so far. We'll see if it holds.
Okay. How about that? Still okay?
Yeah, so far.
Okay.
How about that?
I think it's when you talk for an extended period that it starts fading out.
Well. So apparently,
go ahead about the lug
my
nut
microphone
thing.
is even tired of me talking.
Oh,
Pretty bad.
you've talked it out. The lug nut law of lug
Yeah,
nuts.
he with the most lug nuts wins. So anytime you're calculating.
Yep, it's doing it.
Yeah, it's going in and out.
But I did hear
Damn.
he with the most lug nuts wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a leveling issue.
So part of it's a special interest thing. Part of it's a competition thing, like social status competition. Men are into things, cars are things.
Mm-hmm.
So, because that's why I said earlier when you said someone said people shouldn't buy TVs, or I said I don't know if they necessarily shouldn't buy TVs. If I think it speaks to something essential and fundamental to who they are. People don't always do the practical thing. They're going to do the thing that most expresses or actualizes who they authentically are.
Well, Jeff, I think it depends on if the TV is plausible for your situation. So if you have a family and you have a home system, buying a big TV does actually make sense for that person, but
Right. That's
but
like, and Joe would understand. It's people are going to spend in accord with their nature, not necessarily, but with what makes the most sense from a practical level. So they may buy a car or TV before they feed their family, because that there's something in their nature that satisfies more than
That's
putting
fucked
food on
up,
the
though.
table for their family.
That's fucked up, though.
It is
I,
true
I I
that
think
some
you need
luxury
to just
items.
accept the reality of what people are. It's only
Oh, I
fucked
mean,
up
I
if
know
you have
people
some
do that.
moral
It's fucked up
ideal
when they
that they
do.
should be living up to.
Jeff is essentially right. I mean,
Just
we
just
cannot like it, but it's true. This is what people do.
yes,
yeah.
because
I
just
agree.
imagine you take that low earner person, and they can afford their apartment, they got a job, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, but spending logically based off of what they earn versus what you know they're told they should have as far as these creature comforts. Just imagine somebody in an apartment that never turns the lights on, that you know eats grass and sits
Grass.
and sits in a folded leg yoga pose like a monk when they're not at work. Just imagine that life. Like, I don't have a couch because that couch costs $300 at the Big Lots. I don't have a kitchen table because I don't eat at the table. I take it straight from wherever I get it and I put it in my mouth. I don't have a refrigerator. I don't turn the lights on. I only use the water when I have to wash myself. And then other than that, I just sit in a pose in the middle of my living room. Like, yes, you can't go out into public and do things. You can go to a public park. It's a beautiful place. It's free. But you're not going to the arcade, you're not going to the movies, you're not going to the bar, you're not going to the restaurants, you're not going to the things that, and you know what? That is how the people that wind up succeeding, in my opinion. It's like you have to have that self-discipline. No, I'm not saying you have to live like a monk, sitting in a yoga pose to succeed, but you do have to take what you have and give a certain portion of it to tomorrow. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but most people
And
are not going to live that way. That
Right.
no, most people are not going to do that.
But then we get to, like, again, what was the original question that kind of inspired the conversation? Like, what untrackable acts about
No,
tariffs,
I
and then of
asked about
course,
the tariffs. Yeah, I asked about the
oh
tariffs.
yeah,
Yeah.
Tariffs to money to
tariffs,
cars.
and so what, and that's basically behind Trump populism, and then Trump populism is, people feeling like they've been left behind economically, but a lot of what is making people feel left behind economically is just the perceptive thing of their own consumerism, right? They want to consume a certain level, not necessarily enough to stay alive or even be healthy. In fact, some want to consume to levels that they become unhealthy, right? Like, if we talk about poverty in 2024 compared to 1924, impoverished people in 1924 were bone skinny. Impoverished people in 2024 are fucking fat, and
Yeah.
so it's a very different type of poverty today.
Well,
And so,
some poor people are. I mean, I get your point. I get
yeah,
your point.
A lot are.
I'm not gonna argue that. I'm not. Yeah. I
are
get
you in your car?
They chose
Yeah.
to.
Oh, and welcome, James. Feel free to jump in too. You kind of have to
Yeah,
fight
I
for the
think food
mic around here.
prices, I think food prices are so high. It's just that's why people are eating less. They're just food prices are absolutely outrageous.
ridiculous, bro. It is.
Yeah, those fries
Everything
were
is
over $5.
doubled or tripled at least.
Yeah.
yeah, I go out to eat very little because it's just not a good use of my money, and so
Yeah.
a big part of my food budget is, I look at unit prices on the shelves. I make that count every time I go. Um,
The grocery store is doubled. Even those
When
things.
when when I was working on the big move in my life, I was gonna leave my job. I was going to change cities, and I was going to marry this woman. I was on my best behavior financially. I was using every coupon that existed. I was watching everything. I cut out so much of what had become routine in my life. I was going to Hardee's with coupons
Yo,
for,
how
you know,
much does coupon save you if you couponed everything?
Oh,
Is it
untrackable.
worth it?
Two biscuits for $2.22. Is that what it was back in the day with the coupon?
this was like 11 years ago, but it significantly reduced the price of food,
Really?
and it was fast food. I don't care what you say about health. It was food, and it significantly reduced the price of food.
You
Those
do
Yo,
that at
coupons.
the
And
Hardy.
grocery store too, Untrackable? You do use the coupons at the grocery store too when you shop for food there?
Yo, Hardy's was
I
fire, son. Hardy's,
rarely went
yo,
to the
that biscuits
grocery
and
store.
gravy. Woo.
I rarely went to the grocery store.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because time is
I'm telling you,
money.
but Hardy's back in the day, I'm gonna back trackable up on this. Hardy's back in the day had these, they would mail them to you, like you had these little coupons. You can get like two like sausage biscuits for like $2.22. You can get like the big chicken biscuits for like $2. I
Wow.
mean, literally, you could
Yeah,
eat, you could get yourself full for like $6 for the day.
Where do they have that
What-
today for people that need it?
But
it's a bullshit.
the thing was about this instance was I put myself on a plan. I reduced my drinking. I quit smoking weed, and the food that I was eating cost like 50% less because of these little pieces of paper. And I got so well known because it was on the way to work that
Yeah.
when I would give the coupon to the lady that was gonna serve, give me my Hardee's biscuits in the morning, she would give me 2 more coupons.
Yeah.
You,
No doubt.
Yep.
Now they have digital coupons you can use at the grocery
And
store.
so
I use those a
untrackable.
lot.
What you said about weed is really interesting because when I worked at that law firm, we mostly did traffic cases, but as you could probably guess, a non-traffic citation a lot of people will get during a stop is for marijuana possession because they usually have it in their car with them, and so we would represent them on that, and it'd be over $400 for us to take even a basic case, and they'd be like, "Oh man, that costs so much," and if it's not their first offense, there's depending on how tough the DA is, there's a very real threat they'll go to jail. They're like, "Oh, I can't go to jail. I got my job. I got kids, right?" Or and then sometimes they can't even afford us. Like, I can't afford that, and so I'm just thinking, you can afford the weed, right? But suddenly we need a defense attorney to make a mandatory court date. Now you don't have enough money, right?
Weed seems like a lot cheaper.
But that's probably not the only time they bought weed, right? That's what I'm saying. So if they
But that
simply
was but also that was my personal economy, and when I adjusted it, I could afford to take my credit card down to 0. I
Mhm.
could afford to leave my job. I could afford to change cities, and I could afford to start over. Now, when I started over, I used the credit card until I got a job, and then the job didn't match, and then I had 2 jobs. The road was long. However, if I had just jumped straight from the life that I was living to making that move, bro, I'd have been homeless, and my wife would have not married me. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So
I know
she ended up
exactly
Be
what you
like,
marrying
mean.
you?
I gotta carry you the entire way. No, I made the jump, and we're doing good now.
Yeah, and yeah, so it's like little things like that, like you're saying, that can build up over time, and so not not like our clients who would get the marijuana citations, right? So they would not only save money from not buying the weed, but like that, if they did need a lawyer, they would now have money to do it, right? And then that's just extra money they can use for other things. And like uh something that's been asked of me a few times about, like, when I talk about investing stuff, right, is, well, Joe, what about people who don't have money to invest? And I'm like, well, for some folks that maybe they can't do anything, but there are a lot of folks who could do way more than they give themselves credit for to cut their expenses, spend what money they do have more carefully, and at least save it over time till they have, something to work with, and develop those habits. It does not happen overnight. I didn't have money overnight. I had to take these gradual steps to get a decent amount that it can even have observable results, right? And then, today I can, be self-employed and have a lifestyle that I like more than just, doing some annoying wage job.
Well, it goes back to choices we make. We all make choices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's and none of that has to do, like, whatever the policy is with tariffs or federal income tax or flat tax, or we ban the Fed, or we keep the Federal Reserve alive. Whatever happens with all that, we still have to make those decisions, and we can still make good or bad decisions in any of those contexts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like if you've heard that term, the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the greasy wheels are the ones that are the most squeaky when it comes to the United States, maybe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who are the
Because
greasy
these
wheels?
are the ones out there getting things done
Uh,
versus
the people that don't do what they're supposed to do.
According to who?
As far as like, hey, just for yourself, get up, do something.
Right, but
Earn.
how does it affect you if they don't? Like, if somebody's living their life
Because
making
my
choices
healthcare
you wouldn't
is- my health-
necessarily make, why does that bother you?
My healthcare is more expensive because other people are obese. Bam.
Okay, well,
me
that's
kinda
obesity.
nitpicking.
What about all this other stuff?
well, if they don't want to go out there and try to do whatever hustles they can do, it could be a problem economically. If they don't want to try to do a hustle.
A problem for you or for them?
Well, yeah, it could be a problem for everybody because who's going to pay for their way to live? Someone's got to pay for it. Nothing's free in life. I mean,
Because we're all
There are no-
interdependent. Something bothers me about, like, you can't quantify and calculate the exact precise effect any one person making poor choices has
well,
on another person's life.
we're not
It's
really
difficult.
independent. The
It
independent
is
mind-
difficult.
Then it becomes about like people talk about homelessness. Well, if someone's homeless and they're not leeching on the system, I mean, you can take a handout from anybody any day. That's a one-on-one interchange. But if someone is abusing doing nothing
Yeah.
based off of the programs that
But
wind up
people
being
have
provided to them, then those programs are paid by somebody, and the government loves just throwing programs out there. I think.
They don't throw as many as people think, and they don't really give that much. Like, I
Especially
have no
not in the
problem
United
with
States.
people collecting welfare and sitting on front of their TV and living off of
Jeff,
food. If that's the quality of life that they want and no more, I think
I
it's
don't-
ultimately better in the long run for society to just provide that for those people.
I don't think that those programs provide for the people, but what they do provide is government jobs for people that don't find it in the private sector, and I think that's where the majority of the funding goes is
But
to
we need
have.
those jobs too. I mean, we need jobs too. But I'm sensing strong Karen energy here of this desire to tell other people how they should live. But underneath all this, when you peel back the layer, it seems like poor boundaries between choices you make and the way you live your life and the way you see other people. And I'm not talking about you specifically, just the general you. And the way people see other people live their lives. They have this urge to Karen.
Oh my god.
Ooh.
Well,
Somebody said, "Oh my God."
I mean, for my part, right? Like, I'm okay with people doing whatever they're going to do, but I'm just observing that people have a lot more opportunities in front of them than they often
Yeah, but
recognize
people
or are
pass
willing
up
to
opportunities
recognize.
all the time.
Yeah.
That's probably the norm.
Certainly, but it doesn't mean that people can do more to recognize it.
Yeah, you can point it out, but is that the free rider problem, freeloader problem? Like, because my understanding of a liberal society is live and let live. People are free as long as they're not hurting other people directly, they're free to make the choices they make and live the way they want to live without interference. And I see a lot of encroachment on that lately, or a tendency to want to encroach on that.
Well, I'm of course not speaking myself from an angle of people should stop doing things, but I'm just aware of just how some of these behaviors add up, and
Yeah, they've always been there and they've always added up in that way, and it's not really anything new. And there's always going to be a certain percentage of people that choose to live that way. So again, it's like being in accord with what is.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope it didn't come off like I judge people that I don't know, and or the things that they've gone through. I can only judge myself and the things that I've gone through and what I will continue to go through. So people with a hard time, if I haven't been down their road, I do believe I still understand empathy, and I want the best for everybody, but I can only look at it through my lens.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's nice to want the best, but I don't. If people don't want that for themselves, I'm not going to invest a lot of my energy wanting it for them.
Yeah.
And that's why I said the things about policy earlier, and the choices we make versus who's in charge and gonna write policies. I, if I'm not doing right, I don't think there should be a policy change. Maybe somebody can offer me some education, but ultimately, if I don't make those decisions like I've made in the past and gone down the road of the education, then a failure is a failure is a failure. You know what I mean? And you
I mean, I
collect
think if you're
failures.
making poor choices and you want something different for yourself, the opportunities are out there for you to get that education
Mhm.
from somewhere.
Yes.
To reach out to individual people, there's agencies you could reach out to. Just don't go to the one I went to yesterday. No, I'm just kidding. Call them
You can also
first.
use my channel for stuff like that.
Yeah. So if people are looking to change their situation, there's plenty of things they can do on their own to help do that. So I don't know how much of it needs to be like the state needs to be involved, but I do think we need some basic safety net. Just because I think it benefits all of the rest of us to have that.
Yeah, there needs to be a safety net, but I would say there just needs to be more help to get people back up. So when they fall, you know.
Yes, that is an issue. There's some inertia in the system that kind of perpetuates itself. In fact, for a long time, they made it really difficult to break out of, and they started a few little programs like Ticket to Work and programs where you can transition to jobs and still keep some of your benefits until you get enough of a paycheck to transition off of it. So
Yeah.
I think there's a few trends in that direction, but they could probably do better. But a lot of people, the safety net is all they're ever going to have. Like that's if they don't have
Oh,
that, they're not going to have anything.
Mr. B said something a few minutes ago. He said maybe all the fat people die off and medical costs get lower, but that's not what happens. They get put on some sort of treatment that extends their life, right? And so there's more costs in the system. And then they have an issue. It's like, oh, they have more reasons to get MRIs, more reasons to get this test done. Oh, what's going on? Well, you're fat, so it could be a lot of things because you're at a higher risk of everything. We got to do all the tests, right? And
Well, isn't
so it's
Trump and
like,
RFK now giving them free fat drugs, or they want to?
well, no, you were talking about the semaglutide thing.
I
The
don't know.
RFK Jr. hates that. That's the it's supposed to be the
Ozempic or
drug.
something.
That's like one of the brands. It's supposed to
Yeah.
be the drug that you take it, you actually like cannot get fat or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And there's a much cheaper solution to that, which is just
Eat
eat
less,
less.
exercise more. There's no shortcut to that.
And
Yeah.
eating less alone can do it. You don't even have to exercise at all if you just eat less. You can cut your calorie consumption. But again, how many people are willing to do that? And then if people have a harder life and a more expensive life, and from those decisions, what is a tariff policy or any kind of change in the way money moves through an economy going to do to change that, right? So whether it's just eating a bunch of greasy McDonald's foods that they don't need all the
Mm-hmm.
time,
Mm.
like once in a while is fine, but like all the time, or like there are people who complain about how woke Disney is that have a Disney Plus subscription. Like, how much of our GDP is going into stuff we don't even like that doesn't keep people alive, doesn't build more homes, right? These are the things that create inflation over time, right?
Good point.
So stop buying Disney.
Well, he's saying if you don't believe in it, don't buy it. Don't be a hypocrite. That's what he's saying. He's calling him hypocritical.
I normally don't. I'm very conscious about where I put my money. I was a buy blue person back in the day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if people want to spend money on things that they don't even really that need or even like that much, I'm not going to
But
say
isn't
that they
that the
don't. But
market? Like the market has options that people decide what to buy and spend money on.
yeah, but
If it's on the market, people have the right to purchase it.
right, that's what
They
I'm
don't have
saying.
to justify it to anybody.
Right, but our consumer trends are, why we have the dollar inflation that we do that also makes consumers unhappy. So, people want to be able to spend as much as they can, but they don't want to cut the public budget, but they don't want to
Well, they
pay
can't
more
have all of
taxes.
that. They can't. They have to make some choices at some point.
Well, that's what I'm saying. People want to have it all, right?
They
And that's
can't.
that's the issue.
It's not your cake and eat
Like
it
it's
too.
not even possible. They're going to be
Mhm.
forced into choice as reality starts to encroach on that want.
Well, the choice they got forced into is the way this ultimately is made to work is the Federal Reserve prints more money, which inflates the dollar, which makes the system work. Because that's the only thing they can do. If you run for Congress and you're like, you know what, I'm going to raise taxes so we can pay for all this, you'll get thrown out by Democrats, Republicans. It doesn't matter what your constituency is. If you say you're going to try and make the system sensible with a tax policy that can support our level of consumption, you're going to get thrown out. So the reason why the Federal Reserve is the system that works is because it's invisible taxation. You can't point at any member of Congress and say, you did this to me. The Fed is an independent agency.
Is that why everybody
Um,
hates the Fed? Like all these conspirators think it's control. It's the ultimate branch of government.
I mean, essentially, yeah. Essentially, that's why it makes the everything pay for itself by inflating the dollar over time. And some people think that that's wrong, but then the same people who think that's wrong, are
Don't want to pay extra taxes.
or take a cut or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just people want too many things that are mutually exclusive, whether it's domestic or foreign policy. Both of which cost money, and we just have a lot of voters who want too many things.
Yeah.
And
It's a strong sense of entitlement and a weak sense of responsibility or conscientiousness.
yeah, and so if the one institution that can basically give everyone everything and won't be punished by voters is the Federal Reserve.
Well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so if they abolish it, it'll be interesting to see what society does.
We might all be working the fry station.
Maybe. But I'm not going to worry too much about it.
No, I'm not either. I got my own finances to worry about.
Jeff's going to be a working man again.
Yeah, I'm making my own choices. I'm being proactive. I'm taking it. I'm taking it into my own hands. That's the solution.
Are you going to find a part-time job or full-time?
Well, originally my idea was to just find something part time until I can make this happen. But they have this. One of the things I'm going to look at Monday is this program where you could become a certified nurse's assistant through online training and some in-person labs here and there. And it's like just I don't know, 6 to 8 weeks. So that might be a good option to look at too. I've worked in healthcare most of my life. So there's things like that. Like there's so many options and programs out there that people may not be aware about. So as I discover them and go through the process myself, I'm going to share them on the stream.
There you go.
So if I do something like that, that might involve more than just part-time. But don't worry, you're not going to be rid of me. I'm still going to find time to do the stream, hopefully every day.
Hopefully.
Ren, are you there? It might be away. James is AFK. Ren is AFK. I might just wrap it up.
Yeah, it's getting close to that time. I'll be hanging out with my buddy Marcus soon anyway.
And tonight's Survivor Night. I'll be in the Discord watching that. Maybe some other stuff. Tomorrow is our all-day Thanksgiving stream starting sometime tomorrow morning my time. Going all day. Bring your food, your refreshments, your beverages, your good cheer, whatever else, and let's celebrate together. Be thankful. And we're also going to do no fucks given too. So all the things you have no fucks to give about, share those as well. That's what I was worried, Mr. B, when I said there's got to be a catch. This seems too good to be true. It's too easy of a transition back to the workforce. I bet I'm going to be emptying bedpans and wiping people's asses. I bet that's what I'm going to be trained to do. Anyway, I'm going to go check it out Monday. It's at the same place I went to the other day. It's an in-person event, and then I'm going to stream it and go pick up some fries after. So if nothing else comes out of Monday, there's another box of fries waiting for me, and I can pick up a McDonald's application in the process. And then I start those other online workshops Monday as well, so I'll let y'all know about those. How to talk right and act right and come across right and read nonverbal communication and control your emotions. Taught by some white lady, so we'll see what Jeff gets out of that. I'm going in with an open mind. You know me, I'm high in openness.
There you go, Jeff. High in openness, but strong in reactance. A very interesting combination.
I don't want to I don't want to be stick. The coordination thing, the dyspraxia. I do not want to be the one trying to figure out how to stick a needle in somebody's arm. Yeah, that might be another barrier for me with this nurses course. But this is just one example of what they offer. They're constantly doing these events and workshops with different training programs. So I'm going to check them out as they come across. I found out the place I went yesterday is the local work source, but it's a statewide organization. It's part of that Workforce Investment Act that Congress put through that WIOA thing. So it's funded at the federal level. And here in Washington State, they have events and workshops and classes at locations all across the state, and a lot of them are virtual. So you can go on their website, and if there's not something at this location, you can still take it virtually at any of the other locations across the state. So like on any given day, they have 10 or 15 things going on that I can participate in. So it's way more robust than that lady led me to believe yesterday. Yeah, Philip, I'm giving it an open mind. I'm going to hear what they have to say. I might fight and argue with them the whole time and explain why I don't think it's a good idea to do this way, that way. But they're coming at it from a perspective of if you want to be successful, if you want to enter the workforce and then be successful at the workforce, like not get fired, these are some of the things you can do. So I'm at least going to go and collect the information and then decide how much of it I think I can reasonably apply to my own life. And it's like it's all week. It's like a 4-day course. You take it every morning. So I'm going to check out the first one, and if it's not for me, I don't have to go back. But if it is for me, I'll be there every day this week. And then there's another topic next week that they do. So it's stuff like that. I'll let you know what I get out of it, if anything. And it's all free. It's all funded, federally funded. There's probably some state funding. There's all kind of different other organizations that are involved that have different funding streams that contribute to it. So it's a public option. I don't know what the other states are like, but to me, every state should have some version of this because of that Workforce Investment Act. So people that are looking to change their life and want some options to, or need the support to help them get that leg up, things like that are out there. Well, I'm still not convinced that it is. I'm going into this from a neurodivergent perspective. So I'm almost sure what they're going to teach is this is the neurotypical middle class way to behave at a job, and these are the expectations to meet. It's going to be neurotypical expectations and probably middle class norms. But I'm going in there with the position of not everybody's going to be able to meet those norms or even desire to meet those norms. So what are the options? How can you modify this for people that fall outside of that curve? And if they tell me there's no way, it's this way or no way, then I'll have my answer. But if they have other suggestions for maybe you're not able to completely meet those norms but still be successful in the workforce, I'll get to learn about those too. So I'm approaching it from a very specific position, but with a very open mind. And hopefully there'll be room for dialogue, questions, conversation, and we'll see what happens. If she's a Karen that says do it this way or you're a loser and you're screwed and your life's going to suck from here on out unless you can adapt to the norms we think you should adapt to, we'll probably end up fighting, and even then I'll have a different kind of answer. So I have no idea what to expect, but I'll let you know by Monday when I walk home with my box full of fries. I'll either be walking home very encouraged and optimistic, or I'll be walking home ranting and raving and bitching and complaining like I was the other day. But either way, I'm getting those fries.
At least you have something to look forward to, Jeff.
Yes. It's an incentive. There's gonna be some reward that comes out of this goal, regardless of what happens with this class.
Well, I can understand you as a neurodivergent person because I'm neurodivergent as well. I have autism spectrum disorder.
Do you work? Have you had struggles working or keeping jobs or finding jobs?
I've struggled with working, yeah, because I keep wanting to like switch jobs because I get to know the job, and then all of a sudden it gets boring. And you just want to
Yeah,
quit the
that's
job. You because you want to constantly have that sort of I don't know how you would say it, that learning like rush.
Yeah, that stimulation.
Stimulation, yeah, because you lack the stimulation.
You bring up an excellent point. Like finding a job where there's room for novelty and, if not advancement, at least variety. Because I'm the same way. Once I notice the patterns, I lose interest. I lose enthusiasm.
Sales suck. Like working in like retail. I mean, I guess maybe if you're actually a salesperson, it might work. But I've worked in retail for most of my life. I've never actually worked in the sales part of retail, though. To be
Like,
fair.
what kind of retail roles?
Well, I worked at Walmart, mostly being a janitor. I also was a cart pusher.
A what?
A cart pusher. Cart pusher.
That sounds fun, actually. Like when you go gather the carts in the parking lot? Yeah.
But the problem with that job is that kept me pretty stimulated, but I just didn't like the
I think
coworkers.
Flow State used to do that.
I didn't like the coworkers. It kept me pretty engaged, that job. Because
Yeah, that seems like it would be fun.
But like I said, it was the coworkers that were the problem. Because they would always not want to do their job. Like, they don't want to talk a lot. And they'll just complain in my ear constantly. I'd almost want to say, fuck off. Get out of here.
That's most jobs. That's most jobs.
It's just, yeah, that's true. But at the time, I didn't know about my ASD, though, and everything. I was undiagnosed at the time. And I just would almost want to cuss them out.
have you had jobs since you found out about the ASD?
No, I haven't, because the last job that I had when I found out about the ASD was what led to it. I got fired from misunderstanding, and yeah, it's kind of complicated getting back out there, wanting to get my feet back out there on the job because of all that.
How long ago when was your diagnosis?
It was, let's see, now I think it was like 2 years ago. I've been
And what are your
unemployed.
plan? What are your ambitions now?
I mean, like I said, I've been trying to build this YouTube channel, but I don't know how well that's gonna go. But
Yeah, that was
now,
mine too.
yeah,
And don't give up on that. I think long term that's a good strategy.
yeah,
But I'm learning in the short term you have to find a way to self fund
yeah.
until
I'm
it
gonna need to
gets
get a
to.
job, and I'll probably just get like a job. I'll probably just get a. I mean, granted I am on disability, but I really need to get a job to where I can actually get some actual, I guess, cash and stuff from being out. Actually, be able to get out and deal with people.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Meaning,
but like I
it's
say,
like,
it's a struggle though, wanting to get back out there after the last job, and it's like I don't know.
that's where I'm at. That's why yesterday was so discouraging. But there might be options where you are that to help that transition. But B, I'm the same way, and it's finding the little spots where you can gain a foothold to start re-socializing yourself and transitioning to working with people and being around people.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna. I think once everything is settled with Trump, though, I'm gonna go back out to Tennessee and try to get settled back out there. Maybe find a job out there once Trump's economy.
You think
Yeah.
it'll be friendlier to you there?
Oh, it'd be friendly because I love the economy out in Tennessee because like you don't have to pay income taxes for statewide.
Oh, okay. A
It's
lot
like
of people are moving out there. That's one of the
one of the five. It's
states.
one of the 5 states where you don't have to pay state taxes, and I love Tennessee. It's beautiful land,
Mm-hmm.
nice people, except for in the city. Don't go to the
That,
city. I don't recommend that because they'll call a law on you if you're carrying a weapon of any sort. Just because you're carrying it, and that's
those
it.
urbanites.
And then they'll walk up to your car and tell you that's the whole point of the center lane for you to get out there and everything. When
So,
you're trying to
So
point out the
Karen,
road,
they're Karen.
like,
That's the Karens are in the cities.
and yeah, the city people are not so well, but besides that, Tennessee's an awesome place.
Mm-hmm. I'd consider that's one of the states I would consider.
Yeah.
Good hiking and camping.
Mhm.
Mr. B,
One,
here's James's channel, by the way. Give him a like and subscribe if you haven't checked him out yet. And you do panels periodically too, huh?
yeah, I'm trying to get into the panel stuff. Yeah. Uh, it's difficult though getting people to come up on a panel though.
Yeah,
That's
sometimes it just takes time. It's just building that audience base.
yeah.
And you're free. You can drop it in my Discord anytime you go live. Just put it in the share your work channel, and that might draw some people too.
Oh yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Like you have a self promote area.
Yeah,
Okay. Like most people do. Yeah.
yeah. I love helping the community grow. So if people have channels that I think are cool or of interest to my audience, I love promoting them. I don't mind at all.
Yeah.
I think it
You.
helps everybody to grow. Mr.
Yeah.
B, is that the video, like the drunk aunt, the video that she just made, where she's talking to all her supporters? I saw that this morning. Well,
Yeah.
unfortunately, I have the listening part. I have it too well because I hear all these little nuances that people don't realize they're saying, and when I point them out, they get irritated. So my issue is definitely not listening. It is, I don't even think it's expressing really, but it's I don't know. We'll find out. Maybe we'll find out Monday what my exact issue is. It's they want a certain deportment from me. They want a certain level of polish. They want me to express myself in a certain way to a certain standard that I don't necessarily choose for myself. They want me to be less Cajun and more Anglo-Saxon, less lower class, more middle class, and less autistic and more neurotypical. And I don't think those are necessarily fair standards to impose on me, because there's nothing wrong with the norms that I was socialized by. There's nothing
Yeah,
wrong with autistic people expressing themselves in an autistic way because that's who they naturally are, and in their own cultural way, et cetera, et cetera. Especially from the same people that preach cultural diversity and identity and inclusion and all that stuff. So they need to stop being hypocrites about that. Philip, I'm
yeah,
open to suggestions.
yeah. Jeff, I don't think you're a bad listener. Like, I don't think listening is your issue. It's that when you're autistic, the way you engage is not what people expect, and that makes them uncomfortable. And so they say you have to change to fit in with the norm. And you can make a judgment call to what point they are correct about some of that, and in one point at what point they're asking too much. But I know people who have bad listening skills. I know what a bad listener looks like. And you don't have the traits of that. At
No,
worst,
my whole job depends on my ability to listen, and I'm quite good at it.
yeah.
Um, Philip, I will put my listening against anybody. If you want to find a way to test this, I'm down. Let's put me up against somebody you consider a good listener and see how I do. In fact, I was approached several times here at Washington State to teach a course on listening because they say I'm such a good listener, and if there was a way to help other people become and I thought about it, and I'm like, I don't know how I would even teach listening. I don't even do it consciously. I grew up listening, and so it's something I've always been able to do. I don't know if it's transferable.
Yeah, I think from most autistic people, listening doesn't seem to be as much of a problem. It's just trying to figure out how to express what you're thinking in your head, as far as like what you're understanding of what they're saying and your response.
I think it depends on the autism. Like, because for some autistic people, it's like if they're a bad listener, it's because they're experiencing like sensory overload, and so they can only focus on certain things, and it comes at the expense of listening. But I don't think that's necessarily Jeff's issue, and it's also not just an autism thing, but like a Cajun thing. And it's like, well, this is just how we act in my place, and it's like, I'm not a bad listener in Louisiana. Why am I a bad listener in Seattle?
I don't
Unless you're
think I am a bad.
culturally
And actually, as much as the people here will criticize me and find every negative thing they can to say about me, I think you'd find very few people, even in Seattle, that would say I'm a bad listener. That's just not
true.
one of the things they can ding me on. Mr. B, they had a program for small businesses at this workplace, but you had to be receiving unemployment insurance to qualify. It was to transition you instead of into the workforce. It was an option to help you transition to self-employment to get off of unemployment insurance. So I was not eligible for it, but they did have something like that. No, it has not been profitable so far, but that doesn't mean I'm ready to give up on it because I still think it provides a valuable service. My issue is one of distribution, is getting the services I offer to the people that need it and can afford it, since it's private pay at this point. But some people call that marketing, branding, all that, but I look at it as distribution. Philip, I did hear Joe Cool ramble. I heard all of that, and my reaction was a completely normal reaction to his chaos. I don't think it had anything to do with my inability to listen. In fact, my listening is what told me that we weren't talking about the same thing. Like, eventually I figured out that he's talking about the atomic and subatomic level, and I'm talking about the elemental level. And Ren was there. She caught the same thing. So my listening was at least as good as hers. So maybe I'm not listening now because I'm not really understanding what you're saying about the Joe Cool thing. So maybe my listening could get better in trying to understand what you're saying, or my reading.
Joe Cool is a great listener because he laughed at every one of my jokes.
Yeah, I think he laughs. You don't even have to be telling the jokes. I think your joke telling just coincided with his natural laughter. You don't have to say anything, and he would still laugh all the time, constantly, because he's high,
Mm-hmm.
and everything's funny to him. Okay, it's called the Small Businesses. Is that separate from SCORE? What would really help me is networking. Networking opportunity. Yes, small business administration. Okay, I will do that, Mr. B. I'll
One thing
check
you
into
might
that.
also consider, Jeff, is see if there's any remote sales jobs you can do, basically from your computer.
I'll keep that in mind.
Because sales jobs typically pay pretty well because again, it's where the money is. And if it's something you could do over the phone, if you're strong over the phone, especially stronger over the phone than in a face-to-face work environment, that that could also be helpful. Yeah. Because that's where I thrived at the law firm. I did sales, but it was over the phone sales basically.
I did customer service over the phone. I was really good at that. Like at a
Yeah,
call
well,
center.
yeah, and so like if you have that type of call center experience, but you just combine it to the hustle of maximizing sales, you could be very, very successful at that. The tricky thing is like how the pay works. So, you know, how much is going to be, you know, a salary versus like commission? Um, because the really well-paying sales jobs are the ones that are commission, but you have to, you know, at least make a certain amount of sales for that to be worth anything.
Mr. B, I just checked. It looks like the SBA is referring me to SCORE. That is the local resource. That's probably how I ended up using SCORE. SCORE's pretty big here. And when I go to the SBA site and look at the local resource options, SCORE is who they use for their business mentoring. So yeah, I do have the SCORE option. And SCORE is the same way as the workplace. They have all these online workshops and classes you can take. The difference there is usually you have to pay for theirs comes at a price. But I can always check it out. Really my biggest the biggest I'm really good at networking, in-person networking. And I've tried for years at the town I'm at now to find opportunities, even things like board game nights, hiking groups, BDSM, the BDSM community. They have a little improv place by my house that's very woke that I thought about dropping in on. So even like social opportunities, just to meet people, network. I was part of the men's group, the Mankind Project, for a while, the local chapter of it. So I've been looking for even things like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be business oriented. And I also looked into Toastmasters, and I was going to go to one of their meetings, and I watched their video, and oh my God, it was all about policing how you talk. They count how many times you say the word in your speech. They how many times you talk with your hands. All of that. It's like getting you to come across in a very specific way, and my every nerve in my body just recoiled at that. And so I didn't bother with the Toastmaster
See,
thing.
I can see the value of that. I
Because it'll
can
make me
definitely
more
see
like Joe. I'll come across more like Joe and I'll be more successful. But I don't want to come across like Joe. I want to come across like Jeff and still have that be valued. Or at least still have people be able to see past that to the value of my actual work instead of all the other stuff that has nothing to do with the actual job skill. Well, they said it was for leaders, but it's for leaders who can talk and look and act like they want you to, because they sit there and they fill out this little report on you as you give a speech, and they count how many times you veered from the standard that they're trying to get you to talk. They want me to. They're trying to white me up. They want me to talk white and neurotypical.
just like me.
And I'm looking for a place where I can be my natural self and still bring value to an organization. Actually, I'm looking to do my own thing. This is just a part-time gig until my own thing can become a full-time source of income. All right, I think I'm gonna wind it down for tonight and go get ready for Survivor later. And I'll be here tomorrow for an all-day holiday stream. Everyone's welcome to drop by, give thanks and gratitude, or bitch about the things that you're not thankful for. We're gonna do it all. And I guess other than that, have a good rest of your day. Joe, or James, you have anything you want to leave us with? Ah, okay. Joe, do you?
No, not really. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Other than that, nothing.
Okay. Well, thanks for stopping by today. I'll see you again on Saturday for sure.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And hope everybody stays well and everything. You too, as well, Jeff. Stay well and happy Thanksgiving. And hopefully we can be thankful for a lot of things this Thanksgiving, because we have a lot of things to be thankful for. The fact that we live in a free country, the fact that we're alive, the fact that we can make choices, you know, even period, and everything. Regardless if we live in a free country or not, you can still make choices to make that country free, you know, and change things. So
Wow. That was fantastic. I was gonna do gratitude today and say all the things I was thankful for, and one of the things was going to be the fact that I live in this country, and for many of the reasons that you just said.
yeah.
Well,
Well,
thank you.
yeah. You're welcome. Y'all have a good one though.
You too, James. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you again.
I'll try to.
Well, I hope you do. And if not, come tomorrow, and tell us about it. We'll figure something out. We like to solve problems here too.
Yeah. It'd be great, I'm sure. It just depends on how you define great.
Well, do you have your game, like the game you were playing?
Yeah, I'll have it, but I don't know if I'm gonna play it today though.
And if you have that Barotrauma game, there's a game going in Discord that they're really into. You might be able to get in on that. Talk to Moose.
Oh, is that the one with the sub
Yeah, with the sub.
we talked about?
Yeah, if anybody's interested in a game of Barotrauma, Moose has one going. He's trying to set up an actual campaign.
Hmm.
So looking for players for that.
But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and drop it.
All right. Well, take care, and
You too.
we'll see you again.
Yes, sir.
Take care. All right. That was a pretty good stream today. Mr. B, I have boxes and boxes and boxes of CDs and DVDs. As a very last, and there's like 2 blocks from my house, there's a used store that takes them. And that's a last resort because I still want to hang out to my hard media. I don't fully trust handing it over to online yet. And so something in me still wants to keep all of the hard media in my possession. And maybe when I get a place of my own, I can have a little media room and put it all in there. Zintz, well, hello, hi, and bye. Have a good holiday. Have a great Thanksgiving. I'm doing an all-day stream tomorrow. You're welcome to stop by, hang out. I'm assuming most people are going to be with families and real-life people. But if you're not, or you just want to pop in and wish everybody happy holiday, or come and eat your turkey with us, we'll be here. It'll start sometime tomorrow morning, and it'll go all day. So I'll see everybody then. Tonight's Survivor night. If I still have energy after Survivor, I might do a little fireside stream. If not, I'll be out tomorrow morning for Thanksgiving. So take care, everybody. Thanks again for hanging out, and we'll see you then. Happy Thanksgiving. Take care.